Yes, welcome back to Football Heritage TV on what is a bitterly, bitterly cold morning in South London. The dogs have been walked, and that's about it today. I came in about half an hour ago from walking them and said, nah, I don't want to do anything else today. So I put on my big indoor, big fluffy, whatever this thing is called, and that's me for the day. So let's talk some football. Happy Friday morning, afternoon, evening, whatever day it is, wherever you are, whatever time in the world, hello to you. Let me just start off by saying, first of all, I appreciate every single one of you. I appreciate everybody that comes into my chats. I appreciate everybody that leaves comments. I appreciate everybody that's helped the channel grow. Unfortunately, what I have had to do in the last 24 hours is actually turn off notifications on my phone for YouTube and YouTube Studio. Now, YouTube is the account that we all have, and then YouTube Studio is the account that YouTubers have, which shows you all of your streams, your revenue, your viewing figures, what age were people that watched you, what country did they come from, what gender were they, blah, blah, all this kind of stuff. And it's just been going so silly in there since we beat Liverpool that I've turned it off. It's got ridiculous. Honestly, people, I've never, ever seen a fan base like this, ever. I've always said the Spurs fan base is crazy, but under Ange, I've never known anything like it. It's gone beyond reasonable football chat. It's got you. Some of you saw it the other night. You know, Spurs lose, these people are nowhere to be seen. Spurs win, and it's mud. I mean, what? How old are we? You're in the mud. How old are we? I'll say this: any YouTuber using it, grow up. You're in the mud. You're in the mud. What? Because Spurs won a game. Like, what I love is, I think this is the key thing for me. What I really, really love about this is, because I don't rate the manager, everyone thinks that I think Spurs will never win a game of football. Everyone thinks that because I don't rate the manager, I'm sitting here going, lose, 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 lose. Please lose, 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 lose. We're never going to win a game. We're going to lose 38 games a season. So then what happens is, when Spurs get a good win like we did the other night against Liverpool, I don't get to enjoy it as a fan myself, because so many fans just, you're in the mud, gutted, you can't celebrate. When did football fans, I'm going to say it, turn this dumb? When did the football community turn this dumb? It is ridiculous. I know that there are channels you can watch that are clickbait. I know there are channels that you can watch that will lie to you. They'll put headlines telling you that we're signing this player where there's been nothing to suggest we are. I promise I will never do that. I will ask questions. Are we going to sign this player? I won't do that to you. I won't ever go, Spurs this, and there's no evidence to suggest that. I won't bring to the table false narratives, right? I won't bring to you, oh my God, we're amazing. I won't go onto panel shows and try and belittle clubs like Liverpool and City purely because Spurs have won a game. I want to talk football. And unfortunately, if I didn't support Spurs, I'd be okay to speak honestly and open about City, Chelsea, Man United, Arsenal, Villa, Spurs. Because I'm a Spurs fan, there's almost this expectation that you must just lie. You must just lie so that people's ears aren't offended. And it makes me laugh. So let me give you an example. Good morning to you all, by the way. We will get to, I'm going to be asking a question in a minute about, are we getting carried away? We're going to look at some of the stories that are going around in the world of Spurs and football in a minute. I feel like we're at a stage with football fans now where the truth is never wanted. And that's fine. Truth is never wanted. Facts are not wanted. But what I love, I love revisionism. What I love is Spurs beat Liverpool. Good win. Yeah. All right. I'm a bit more of a pragmatic person in terms of we're halfway through that semi-final. I know people are losing their minds talking about winning it. Sure, like many of you, I've been here, seen it, and done it before with Tottenham. I ain't going to celebrate until we're lifting that trophy, because I've seen us lose how many semis, how many finals, and that's the way it is. But it's the revisionism from people. It's Spurs had won 1 in 9 games of football. We beat Liverpool, and this is special. All our players are special. Gray's the greatest young player I've ever seen. Bergvall is like Steven Gerrard, right? The goalkeeper is Peter Schmeichel. Now, listen, I'm not knocking those kids. I'm not knocking those kids. But for me, can we at least wait for them to do 5, 10, 15, 20 games in a row before we start talking about future captains? Steven Gerrard, one of the best players that's ever played in the Premier League. Right? Some of the things I'm reading is just like, I look at it and go, I'm an adult. Am I going to look at this and go, yeah, you're right. Oh my God, yeah, Gray is like, we've got adults losing their mind when you win one game. We'd won 1 in 8 or 9 before that. Like, when you win 1 or 9 games, 1 in 9, at what point do you turn around and go, we need this win more than anything to stop the rot? We've got to stop the rot. What we do is, when we stop the rot, every time it's that groundbreaking moment where we go, oh my God, we're amazing. If Ange gets this, if this, don't worry that there's a mountain of evidence for 15 months to show how bad we've been. But every win is, we're amazing. Now, let me just give some examples of how stupid and dumb some people are. No names. I'm just going to say some of the things that have come into my YouTube, which is why I've switched off the comments at the moment, because you guys can still comment, but I've switched off me getting the notifications to see them. Right? I get people coming in going, you don't like Ange. That means if we win the trophy, you can't celebrate and be happy. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Now, let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this narrative that these absolute idiots, let's call it for what it is. Let's have a look at the nonsense that they spout. Bearing in mind, these people sit behind a keyboard. This goes, what shall I say to Savva? What shall I say? I don't like his opinion. What shall I say? I know I'm going to say to him, you can't celebrate if Spurs win because you don't rate Ange. Right. Type. Okay, brilliant. So let's have a look at a few things. Anyone remember when George Graham came into Tottenham Hotspur? Anyone remember that? George Graham? Some of the older fans in the chat will obviously remember this. No one wanted George Graham. At the time, I don't remember anybody wanting George Graham. I remember at that age, God, I must have been 16, 17, 18, something like that. Can't even remember now. And I remember no one wanted him, right? I mean, look, people in the chat I know of a certain age. Look, Mark the Sheriff, Mark Taylor, Jimmy Hotspur, Mark. Let's have a look, right? Let's have a look. When George Graham came in, no one wanted him because, oh my God, what do you mean? That's one of Arsenal's best ever managers. What are we doing? Why are we signing George Graham? Remember? George Graham comes in. Spurs, not great in the league. We weren't great in the league, but we were in a good cup run. I didn't see anyone complaining. I didn't see anyone going, you give away your cup final ticket because you don't like George Graham. You don't like George Graham. You can't celebrate if we win this trophy. What was it? The Worthington Cup at that stage? Pretty sure the 99 final was the Worthington Cup, right? At that stage, I remember being at Wembley, the old Wembley, and everyone losing their mind. Spurs didn't even play well. For anyone, guys and girls, I'm sure some of you will back me up in the chat here. Spurs did not play well throughout that League Cup final. It was not a good performance from Tottenham. We had a man sent off. We did not play well. But you know what? We won. The last couple of minutes of the game, all I've got in my mind is Stefan Everson driving down the right-hand side, bustling down that right-hand side. Cross comes over, deflects up, and Alan Nilsson, bang, 1-0. Now, I've actually interviewed Alan Nilsson on this channel, and Alan Nilsson turned around and said to me, yeah, we didn't play well in the final. And you know what? When that game was won, I don't remember any Spurs fan saying to another Spurs fan, you can't support Tottenham. You can't enjoy this cup win. I find it crazy. One day Ramos came in. People hated him. People hated one day Ramos, not personally, right? But people didn't like him as a manager. We still won that cup and everyone celebrated. We've beaten Chelsea. We beat a very good Chelsea and we did play well that day. We beat a very good Chelsea in the final, right? And everyone loved it. It didn't matter for that moment. It didn't matter. Like Ramos, dislike Ramos, indifferent about Ramos, don't like this player, like that player. It didn't matter. Now we've got to an era where football fans are sitting there going to each other, you can't enjoy if we win the final. Now, we're not even in a final. I'm just using this hypothetically. Why? Why, as a football fan, where, as I said, I was taken to my first game. I don't remember, obviously. My first game I was taken to, and I was put on my uncle's shoulders, was in 1984. It was in the December of 1984, is what my uncle told me, right? I didn't really grow up with a dad. So my uncle took me. And then whenever my mum couldn't have me, my uncle would look after me. And if it happened to be on a Spurs day, I went to Tottenham Hotspur with my uncle. So obviously between the ages of 2, 3, 4, I don't really remember. After that, I remember being there. I remember being a 5, 6, 7-year-old being at Tottenham. Then you remember getting a little bit older and I'm seeing Gaza and I'm seeing Lineker. I'm seeing the end of Waddle and the end of Hoddle. I'm seeing the Paul Walshes, the Paul Allens. These are names that will go over a lot of these new fans' head. They don't know these footballers. I'm seeing Pat Van Den Houw and Steve Sedgley, right? Yeah, Pat Van Den Houw, Steve Sedgley, the Dean Austins, the Naeems, the Samways, the Jukebox Jury, the Gordon Jury, Lineker, Gaza, Eric Torsvet. This is... yeah. I was waiting, Mark. I was waiting for it. The Gary Mabbotts, right? This is the era I grew up in, where we moved right the way through these types of footballers, right? Then we had a period where it wasn't great. We moved into that period where it was really, really poor at Tottenham. But you know what? Everyone as fans, we tried to cajole each other. It was going to get better. We're going to get back to those glory years. Surely, guys and girls, we are. So then when that cup final came around in 99, and obviously it was the first one, I was at the final. I was at the FA Cup final in 1991 when we beat Nottingham Forest. Everyone remembers the game, who was there and of that age. Again, I thought it was another performance where Tottenham didn't actually play well, especially first half. If anyone remembers, they might tell me if I'm being a revisionist here. We started terribly. Gaza with the foul. Anyone remembers, the free kick buried by Nottingham Forest and we're 1-0 down. Then Paul Stewart equalises. Everyone remember that? Paul Stewart, great guy, interviewed him on here. Paul Stewart equalises. And then extra time, Des Walker. Own goal. Tottenham win the FA Cup. Since then it went to 1999. 1999 was the next one. And everyone under George Graham who didn't like him was, well, we've won a trophy. But no, not in 2025. You're not allowed to do that. You have to love the manager. You have to love everything. Don't worry that we're bad. Don't worry that the manager's got a 1.20 points per game. What we'll do is we'll make excuses about a handball at Newcastle. Injuries. We're the only club with injuries, apparently. We'll make excuses about handballs. But then when the referee gets it wrong against us, against Liverpool in the semi-final, oh, don't worry about that. It doesn't matter. Well, of course it doesn't, because we're football fans, right? So For me, I just think that's why I've turned off my comments. It's got mad. Too many young people for me. Too many young people that don't understand football. Sorry, I'm going to say it. Too many young people for me that don't understand football. Too many people now that just look at it and say, we're amazing, because every now and then, Spurs, have a look at Spurs. We beat Man City. We beat Villa. We beat Liverpool. So we've beaten some good teams, and we go, but if we can do that every week, the difference is, people, we can't. The same people, when we lost to Newcastle, when we lost to Bournemouth, when we lost to Forest, right? When we lost to Chelsea, when we drew with Glasgow Rangers, right? When we lost to Galatasaray, when we drew with Roma. Look at all of these bad results, by the way, I'm putting to you, that have happened in the last 3 months. When we do all that, right? When we do all that, I mean, look, unfortunately, look at this. Oh my God, you are rotten. You can't even see it. I don't know what that means. Like, when you do all that, all of the excuse from the fans is, yeah, but the players are too young, or these squad players aren't good enough, but he's missing his back four, but this, but that. Then that same squad, minus Sarr and minus Maddison, actually beat Liverpool, the best team in the country at the moment. And all of a sudden, every young player that we said wasn't ready a couple of weeks ago is now generational, right? Dragosin and Gray, how fantastic were they? They're brilliant. Absolutely. Now, fine. But you weren't saying that. These people weren't saying that when we were losing. When we were losing, they weren't good enough. When we're winning, they're brilliant. They're generational. They're great. And all I've ever tried to do is strive for consistency. All I've ever tried to do is strive for, let's be consistent. Let's not be ridiculous 1 minute, right, and sublime the next. That's all I've tried to do. But it gets misconstrued. You hate everything. You're glass half empty. I'm not glass half empty, right? I love this saying that I'm glass half empty. But in reality, right, I know that's a word that a lot of football fans don't want. But in reality, I'm not glass half empty. Have a look at this. I've got to scroll down to find where we are. Look. Glass half empty. Look at where we are. Look at where we are, right? So people want to go mad, lose their minds. Listen, brilliant. I love that we're in a cup run. I love that Tottenham Hotspur could get to a final, a big 90 minutes to come. But you know what? It doesn't suddenly make up for how bad we've been. Every time we win a game, I hear masterclass. Like, do you remember? I say back in the day, but surely who here uses the term masterclass? Like, why is it every time Spurs win a game, it's a masterclass? Why is it never Spurs won a game of football because we bloody well should have and we were at home? Why is everything a masterclass? So-and-so wins a game, masterclass. So-and-so loses a game, disaster class. Right? Why can't we just say Spurs won? Brilliant. Now, let's put that to the side, the cup win. Now, how do we get out of this absolute hole we're in the Premier League? How do we say, right, we've seen what you can do when you don't play Ange ball and you actually don't have inverted fullbacks and the centre-halves are not on the halfway line, yeah? Spurs actually look a decent team. How do we get that? How do we convert that into the Premier League to stop us being 12th? How do we do that? And when we're going to call things a masterclass, you got to remember games like that are 1-0 are on the balance, right? They could go either way. As I said at the time, both teams I didn't think played well, right? I'll get told off for that. We were brilliant. I don't think we were brilliant. I thought in the first half we did absolutely nothing. In the second half, I thought we counter-attacked really well because Liverpool dominated. But people don't want this. We live in a world now, and it's where sometimes I go to bed and I think about being a YouTuber, and I think to myself, why do I do it? It's pointless. We're trying to talk football, and people don't want it. People don't want football. What people want is lies. There's a channel right out there that was telling everyone in the summer how amazing we are, how many points we're going to get, how great the signings were, telling me how, but you're just a negative fan, Savva. Now that's not happened. What's that? Now that everything that person said hasn't come true, because obviously they were just being super hyper about it all. What's happened is we now have channels that change from that to, but he wasn't backed. And it's like, well, okay, but if you knew he wasn't backed in the summer, why did you give the crazy predictions that we're seeing from football fans? Why? And you know what? My man Perchy always says this. Big up Perchy, and please subscribe to him if you haven't already. My man Perchy always says this. If you change your opinion every week, you can never be wrong. And the thing is, there's people like Stel, there's people like me, people like Danny, people like Mr. Box Office, people like Maz, right? We don't change our opinion every week, right? So we live and die by our opinion. So in the long run, if Spurs turn out to be really, really good in the league, I turn around and go, well, I was wrong. Bearing in mind, my opinion was 7th. Bearing in mind, my opinion was 7th. It looks better that way, doesn't it? 7th, right? If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But these people that change their mind week in, week out with their opinion can never be wrong because they change it so much. One week it's a video, Ange must go, he's dreadful. The next week, Spurs are amazing. Give Ange 50 years of a contract. Give him 500 million. And you're like, well, hang on. Like, what are we doing here? Like, how can a football fan watch 90 minutes of football? 90 minutes of football and change their entire opinion on players, manager, system, tactics. It's crazy. It's like me. It's like in the real world of work. Let's say I'm a manager. I manage a sales team. Let's say I manage a sales team, and I've got this guy or girl over here, right? Whoever over here that hasn't performed for a year, but they come in, they've missed all their sales targets for a year, but they come in on any given day and they have a great day and they win a really big bit of business. It's like me turning around and going, they're brilliant. Oh my God. Yeah, don't worry. Forget any training we needed to do with that person. Forget any tweaking we needed to do. Forget all of that. They're brilliant. No, they've had a good day. How do we get them to be better? And what I want Spurs fans to strive for better. I want us to really, really strive for better. And we don't strive for better. We've got new fans coming in and going, yeah, but you've not been good for this many years. And it's like, well, okay, but have you watched Spurs? I'll give you an example. This guy, I'll give you an example. Look, I caught this out of the corner of my eye. We haven't been good for 15 years. That's not true. Again, this is not true, Ian. In the last 15 years, there's been times where we've been a very good team. Now, did we get over the line? Maybe not, but we've had times when we've been a very good team, right? So, no, this isn't true, Ian. Again, guys, this is something, I'll call it out, Ian. This is something that is said to make people feel better about how bad we're doing at the moment. This is. I'm being told off for saying lies. This is incorrect. I've been told by somebody. I've got to say that. This is incorrect, right? Tottenham Hotspur have not been good for 15 years. Let's have a look. Let's have a look to see if this person is right. Tottenham league finishes. There we go. Tottenham league finishes. Let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at my mate Wikipedia. List of Tottenham finishes. Okay. So if we look here, right? Hang on, let's change that to a bit smaller. There we go. Right, let's have a look. I'm going to bring this up. So again, this is what you get with revisionism from people like Ian. No offense, Ian. I'm sure you're a very nice guy. But when you come on and put false information like this, what it makes people do is it makes people go, yeah, we've been rubbish for 15 years. No, we haven't. We have not been rubbish for 15 years. What people mean to say is we've not won a trophy for 15, 17 years, right? I'm going to show you this to show you that when people like Ian say things like that, it's not true. It's people go, it's my opinion. That's not an opinion. Look at this, right? if we actually have a look, let me move my big head, right? You can see down here, right? You can see the third column where you can see the gold, silver, and bronze. This is our league positions, all right? Hang on, let me connect. Right, you can see there, not one of these league positions, that's 2024, right the way through to 2013, not one of those league positions has been bottom half, right? Have a look. How many fourths? In that list alone, two fourths, 2/3, 1/2, right? 3/5, 2/6. Nowhere in there are we outside. I think there's 2 seasons we're outside the top 10. 2, right? Now let's go back a bit further, right? So what was that? 2013. Look here, 2013. Then let's go previously. Look. So from 2013, you can see there, right? Going backwards, 6th, 5th, 4th, 5th, 4th, all right, 8th, 11th, 5th, 9th. So for the last 20 years, we've predominantly been a top 16. Now let's have a look at in the cups, right? 2008, we won the tournament. We won the cup, right? The League Cup. The year after, we were runners up. The year after that, we made the semi-final of the FA Cup and the quarter-final of the League Cup. Let's have a look. Where are we? We're there. Yeah? Look at this. 2011, 2012, we got to the semi-final of the FA Cup. Runners-up of the League Cup in 2015. Right? Semi-final of the FA Cup in 17. Semi-final in 18. Runners-up in the Champions League in 2019. Right? Runners-up of the League Cup in 2021. Semi-final in 2022. Right? So, no, I'm afraid that's not true. What this guy just said, this is what you get. People come in and say, we've not been good for 15 years. That's not true. There's been some poor times, but to say we've not been good, some of those teams under Poch were some of the best teams we've seen. Did they get over the line? No. Can we call that failure? I mean, look, each to their own, whether you want to call that failure or not. I will put it in this bracket. Did we fail to get over the line? Yes. Was the team overall a failure in terms of what we had built and the way we played? No. And there's a huge difference. But again, Andrew, unfortunately, the injuries have only happened in the last month or so, right? I'm going back with 15 years, right? This is so I'm going back 15 months with this guy. So look, is it great that we beat Liverpool? Absolutely. Should we celebrate? Absolutely. But the revisionism, I mean, if I get one more thing sent to me by somebody yesterday about how amazing Archie Gray and Bergvall are, Archie Gray and Bergvall done well. There's been plenty of games this season where they haven't, and no one says anything. For me, leave them to it. Stop. Look what we've done already to Kinski. Look what we've done. Look what we've done to Kinski already. We've put him there, haven't we? Already, Kinski is absolutely bloody mate. He could be the best goalkeeper we've ever seen. I don't know. But I'm at least going to give him the rest of the season playing in goal to find out, because there's going to be games where he has mistakes. There's going to be games where it's not as plain sailing as it was on his debut, right? People just want everything now and don't want to wait. And as I've said, I keep one of the things I get a lot in my YouTube comments is this. So, Savva, if Ange goes on a run of 10, 15 games and we don't lose and we move up the table, will you change your opinion? It's this simple. If Ange starts managing properly and starts managing to put some runs together, proper runs, I'm not talking about, we've beaten Tamworth or Coventry. I'm talking about, can we go the rest of January and February without losing a league game? Can we go 7, 8, 9 league games without losing one? Can we go 7, 8, 9 league games where we win 7, lose 1, draw 1? Can we actually see a run of form? Now, why, as a fan, me asking for that, is that seen as negative? because I don't turn around and say, well, we've won 1 in 5 games. Oh my God, Ange ball. And the funny thing about this is we didn't win. Have you noticed the best wins we've had this season is when we don't actually do the Ange ball thing? Whoever coined that deserves shooting. But, have you noticed, like, the way we played the other night wasn't the normal gung-ho attacking. We looked better. That's what I've been asking for. Okay, Savva, I take your point, but you are giving Ange a different setting. No, I'm not. What have we done? Savva, you just said people don't want to wait. You wanted to bin him 3 months ago, probably more. Ian, because over time, the evidence that's stacking up is showing he's doing a bad job. I don't understand. I'd love to speak to you one-on-one, Ian, for you to come on and tell me, what different setting am I giving Ange? Spurs in the Premier League have had so many managers. I will judge them all by the same thing. I will judge them by the quality of their squad and what they do, right? And at the moment, Ange Postecoglou has us 12th in the Premier League, and he's got the worst points per game in 27 years. That's how I'm judging him. So again, you've come in incorrect, saying that I'm judging him in a different setting. It's like the people that come into my comment section every day and they say things like, what one said yesterday about me and Stel. They always group me and Stel together. It's quite funny. Me and Stel laugh about it, right? The problem with you and Stel is you expect this manager to be winning leagues. No, I don't. I said to them, have you ever heard me say that? Yeah. No, you don't. No, you haven't. No one's ever heard me sat here with any manager and gone, this manager has to win the league. Ibni, not true. Loads of people have disagreed with me today. I haven't blocked anyone. You do realise sometimes, Ibni, when people are blocked, it's not the person running the show. Unfortunately, when you get people like this that just lie, I'm not slagging off the coach. I'm not. I'm saying, show me. I'm saying, show me. Show me over a period of time that we're going like that. Show me. I'm not as easily pleased. I think our fan base is so easily pleased. Yeah? And you can tell we've got children coming in. Ange will always be better than you sitting by the camera in your basement wearing my Mrs. card. Okay, let's block this person. See, now when he says blocking people, yeah, look, I've got to block idiots like that, right? Got to. But Ian, again, we're not. Show me. Ian, next sentence, give me 3 bullet points that show we've improved. Again, this is what I mean. Unfortunately, Ian, you're a grown man. You understand we're doing that in the league, right? You understand over the last 15 months that our goals against column is going up. Our ratio of losses is going up. Our points is going down. You understand that, right? See, look, unfortunately, guys, this is what you get. Rationale has gone out the window. Look what we've got. Look what we've got here. From my point of view, he says, and Ian, I'm sure you're a lovely guy, but from my point of view, we are improving. Based on what? It's not based on league position. It's not based on the number of wins because that's down. It's not based on the number of defeats because that's up. Are we saying we are improving based on this cup run? So beating Man United, Man City, and Coventry is what we're improving on a cup run. Because no one can give me stats. John Thompson has said, Ian, just explain why a fit team lost at home to Ipswich. How was that improvement? Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, barbaric. This is what you get. It's what you get. Not Ian, the other person. Yeah, it's madness. By the way, this is my indoor sitting around, big, comfy. This is lovely. Look, I'll ask this. I'll sit here and say this right now. You've all heard this come out of my mouth. I don't rate Ange. If he wins the League Cup, I turn around and go on, mate, you've bought yourself time. Go and build. Right? Sure. Doesn't mean I have to rate his style of play or his talent ID, but I go, you've done what many couldn't for 17 years. You've won a trophy. Absolutely brilliant. Go. For me, it gives him time. But in the league, it can't just be this. It can't be. At some point, you've got to see this. You've got to see this at some point. These people like Ian that say, give it time. Why is Iriola doing a bloody good job at Bournemouth? He's been there the same amount of time as Ange. hardly any money, a worse squad. Why have Bournemouth done better then? Oh, I know, Leon King. I know I'm fighting a losing battle, but I do like to highlight, as you can see, that people, doesn't matter whether they're kids, adults, will just say whatever they want, and then what they hide behind is, but it's my opinion. Sure, some things are facts, right? Let's say me and you, Leon King, me and you turn around and have a debate about James Maddison, his passing ability. Just making it up, right? Me and you can go, that's an opinion. My opinion, great passer. Your opinion, bad passer. Opinions. But when people say, we have improved in my opinion, where? Because the evidence, the facts don't actually show that. So again, there's facts and then there's opinions. And people don't know the difference. Let's have a look at some of the comments. Louis has said, Savva, yes, high league position is very important to me, but winning a cup is the ultimate achievement for us at the moment. We have one championship in my lifetime. Louis, we all want to win a cup, but that doesn't mean that you can just do that in the league and then say that we're getting better. Jim, it's one win in a part 2 game, right? It's one win. It's absolutely mad. Brian absolutely saying to Bob Barrett, you should see the comments that Savva, Stella and I get in the comments after shows. Mate, it's Brian. Look, I think we've got to a stage now where we've been doing this so long, we're used to it. But when me and Brian share comments with each other like we did the other day, we're laughing, going, look at this. Look how angry this individual is. Talking about our looks, our appearance, our this, our that. People who like that guy that I just blocked that say things like, look at you in your basement. I mean, first and foremost, I'm not in a basement. I mean, if I'm in a basement, it's a pretty high up basement, isn't it? Sorry, that probably you won't be able to see out of there. That is the road down below. So first of all, it's not a basement. Second of all, where would people like YouTubers to YouTube from? Is there a magical place where we're all allowed to work? We'll see. Oh, I agree, Albie. I agree. But, you know, what makes me laugh is just how silly we are. So I'm going to ask this question, right? Before I do, it's comments like this. I love these comments. Savva, I disagree with the way you judge Ange. Which is what? Winning games of football and league form and not losing games and not conceding goals. He's only in his second season and needs time. We are building as part of the process. Buzzword central. If the same thing happens next year, he should be sacked. I love this. We are building. What's he building, Ridwan? What's he building? No one can ever answer it. The Boomverse said the 90s won two trophies. Since 08, 17 years later, we have had some good squads, players and managers, got to a Champions League final, but we've done over previous relegated Great Escape Leicester. Madness. Levy sacked our scouting department and went for facts and data. How did that go? How was it going before, Brett? Again, another one. People don't want the facts. What's this? Give Ange a go in the cups when the league form is bad. Why not let me have a go in the cups? Same logic. I'm not good enough, but I'm not out of them yet. It's madness. It's absolutely madness. Andrew said, too many YouTubers just spout opinions that change every week. Savva's been consistent, and correct me if I'm wrong, Savva. All you want to listen, I've said the whole time, Andrew, under Ange, I want some consistency. But we do this. The manager tells you he won't change, right? And then, you know, I don't, Andrew, I don't know. I just want to see some consistency. I don't want to see us just beat Liverpool and the fan base lose their mind and everyone goes potty. Wait till we win it. Bryce, unfortunately, there's many of us that get this. Me still, and I know, Brian, we get a lot. Like, we get the abuse every day is unbelievable. It is, honestly, I've got to the point where I'm like, I'm at the point where I'm showing people going, this is a new one. Yesterday, I got called a weak-minded cripple. A weak-minded cripple. Mind blown. Ian's come back and said, we know you don't rate Ange. However, you can't get results because you want them. However, a matter of 2 weeks ago, we got beat 6-3 with an Imperial poolside. No improvement. Ian, you're a grown man, Ian. You don't go by, because we lost 6-3 and we won this game 1-0. Oh, we're better. Since we lost to Liverpool, what's happened? We haven't won a game since we lost to Liverpool. Then we beat Liverpool. Oh, everything's improving. Ian, listen, I can't get results because I want them. What are you... Ian, please come on. Please come on the show. You are infuriating. Why do you not like evidence? It is absolutely mental. Lena said, Savva, these childish people should be back in a playground, but come face to face and make the same comments, they'll back away. Look, I just think I was always brought up to tell the truth. A lot of football fans lie. A lot of YouTubers lie to you constantly lie. But you know what? Those lies are comforting. Those false narratives are comforting. And I get it. People want comfort. People want to know their club's the best. Now, am I sitting here saying Ange can't win a cup? I'm not saying that. We can win the cup. Arguably should go on and win it from the position we're in. But does that make me think that his overall management is good? No, I don't. It's sad almost that he can get them up for Liverpool and Man City. But Forest beat us. Bournemouth beat us. Brighton beat us. Palace beat us. Ipswich beat us. Galatasaray beat us. Couldn't beat Rangers. Couldn't beat Roma. It's almost sad, isn't it? That for someone who apparently is such a good coach and things are improving, Ian assures us, even though I've just proved him factually wrong, Brett, go away then. I'm not condescending. I'm asking, Brett, this is the problem. Guys and girls, I'm going to use Brett as a fantastic example, right? Brett is your typical fan online that says something, has nothing to back it up with. Then when he's proved wrong, the person that proves him wrong, you're condescending. No, you're just wrong, mate. You're wrong. You've been proved wrong. You don't like it. As I said, Brett, my channel's open. If you want to come on and talk football, come on and tell me why Ange has done a good job. Come on and tell me why Spurs are 9 points off of the European positions in the Premier League. Come on and tell me. Come on and tell me. I bet you won't. Don't expect consistency with the current squad. So this current squad can beat Villa, Liverpool, and Man City, but I can't expect them to beat Bournemouth, Brighton, Forest, Fulham. No. Palace, Ipswich, no. That makes no sense. How does that make sense? Absolutely. Exactly. He won't play a system that suits them. Here we go. Look, see, now Ridwan's getting silly. Guys, I think I've shown it. Ian's shown you. Now Ridwan and Brett have shown you. You see the evolution of people that aren't very smart. Look at this. Now, if you want consistency, support a team that is better than Spurs. Why? I've seen Spurs have consistent teams. Why does that make sense? Why does that make sense? How? Look how deep down someone like Ian has to dig himself out of a hole because he's wrong. Ian started this by saying Spurs have been bad for 15 years, which is not true. You can have improvement without winning games. Sorry? What? What are we talking about here? Of course he won't come on because he's wrong. Absolutely. The injuries are actually doing Ange a favour because Ange was the one who didn't want to play Dragoshin. Ange was the one who didn't want to play Spence or Gray. Ange is the one that didn't want to play these players, Bergfeld, that actually won him the game against Liverpool. He didn't want to play. He didn't want to play them. All of this, but he couldn't rotate. Why? Showing now you could. All of this, you can't put Spence in. He's really bad. Spence was man of the match the other night for me. But he doesn't want to play. He didn't want to play them. He's now forced into playing them. And now people revise about what happened. Oh, this same old thing. Same old thing. So why are Bournemouth consistent? Why are Forest consistent? Answer me that, Ridwan. Well, you're welcome to come on as well. I'll take on any of these people. Here we go. Here's another one. James Director, Savva, plays the victim. Less opinions and behaviour. You block people. I've not blocked anyone. I blocked that guy there that was talking about my wife and talking about basements. James, you do realise, again, unfortunately, you get trolls like this that say I block people in my chat. Sometimes block people. I'm saying to my mods now, don't block anyone. I will do the blocking. But James Director, again, look, fake name, no picture, calling people victims. Have a look at the state of this. This is human beings in 2025, ladies and gentlemen. James Director, come on, put your camera on, we'll talk. Watch how this person shits themselves and goes back into their troll land. This is what happens, right? If you lose 20 games out of 24, it shows, listen, we've not quite lost 20 out of 24. Oh, in 2024. Yeah, we lost 22 games of football in 2024. But Ian tells you that we're improving. Again, no one like Ian can actually put any facts in front of me. I agree. So no manager's ever wanted to play Spence. Look, he's done well when he's played. So why not? Why not? John said he's pissed that Ange doesn't give him regular minutes. Not saying he's good, but he's back up. Just play him. He's had Spence there all year. It's mad. Glenn, big up to you. I said these Ange apologists. Honestly, mate, listen, I've got no problem if these people were truthful. Turn around and say, do you know what? Yeah, he's doing a terrible job in the league. In the cup, he's doing great. Sure, we can have that conversation. That's honest. Brett said, you're out of your mind, mate. I've supported Spurs 40 years, seen the highs and the lows. My opinions is I've seen us win and lose. I don't need numbers and facts to have an opinion. But Brett, if the numbers and facts say that you're wrong, then yes, you do, Brett. This is the problem. This is the problem. All right, I'll ask you this question, Brett. Has Ange done well the last 15 months? There's a simple question. Has Ange done a good job in the last 15 months? We'll come back to you in a minute, Brett. Because again, when you're saying you don't need numbers and facts to have an opinion, that's ridiculous. That's like Southampton turning around and going, God, we've been good this year in the Premier League. Yeah, but you're bottom. Yeah, but don't worry about the facts and numbers. We've been good. Well, you haven't because you're not winning many games. Yeah, don't worry about that. Do you understand, Brett, how silly that sounds? Don't worry that Spurs have lost 10 league games already in 20. We're getting better. I've never seen Spurs lose 10 in 20 for the last 20 years. But that's not true. That's not true. Again, Ridwan, this is why I love people like Ridwan. This is why I love people like Ridwan, because they say things without evidence. Let's go to our trusted league table again to prove Ridwan wrong. Here is the league table. Only Nottingham Forest are consistent. Liverpool have not lost in 6. Arsenal have not lost in 6. Forest have not lost in 6. Chelsea, all right, they've lost 2 of their last 6. Newcastle have not lost in 5, only 1 in 6. Man City not lost in 3, lost 2 of their last 6. Bournemouth haven't lost in 6. Villa have won 3, drawn 1 of their last 6. Fulham haven't lost in 6. All right, there's a lot of draws in there. Brighton have lost 1 in 6. So only Nottingham Forest are consistent. Look how many of those teams don't lose games of football. Again, it's people that don't want the truth. Again, this Liverpool win is what this project is about. Down to the bare bones, kids playing everywhere, players out of position. I mean, who was out of position? Gray. Who was out of position other than Archie Gray? Spence and Porro are fullbacks. Dragashin's a centre half. Bergval's a centre mid. What do you mean players out of position everywhere? It's not a good opinion of Tottenham that I hate, Brett. It's when the opinion isn't true. I don't know why you can't understand that. You're not giving me any evidence to show that. Ian's come back in. Savva, can we reflect on your opinion about players? And going back a while regarding Spence, Gray, Bergfowl. Do you remember? Yeah, what? What's my opinion of Gray and Bergfowl? That I want to see Archie Gray play centre mid. Hasn't changed. Bergfowl, nothing's changed. He's had a couple of decent performances. He's a kid, 18. He needs time to grow. What's changed? What's changed? Ian, you see what you're doing here? See what you're doing, Ian? You've completely lost your debate because you've got no evidence on your other argument. You're trying to deflect. Tell me what I've said. Tell me what I've said about Graham Bergfowl that's not true. What? We don't need to see Gray playing his position. We don't need to see 10, 15, 20 games from these guys of really good performances before we go, oh my God, they're amazing. I don't get it. I just don't get it. It is the 2 marks, yeah. And by the way, yeah, feel free, promote your channel. Absolutely. I'm a firm believer that we should promote. Mr. Rubin, Savva, can you please give credit to the gaffer for once? I did, Mr. Rubin, but you don't listen. Yeah. The credit for this game was it wasn't his style of football. Right? For me, it wasn't his style of football. When he doesn't play this silly gung-ho football, we look decent. There you go. I don't know what you want me to say, Mr. Rubin. I didn't actually think we were that good. I thought Liverpool were poor. I thought we were poor. But we managed to get the goal they couldn't. This is what we hope every time we win a game. This is my hope. This is what I want. Pro gaming, my bro. That's all I want. But you know what? Every time we have a win, we do this. Right? Again, we're going to do this thing. Where would Liverpool be? Where were we when we had Van der Ven, Romero, and Vicario, Guy? I'll wait for that answer. Where were we? I'll tell you where we were. We had our worst start to a Premier League season for 20 years. Right? Where would Liverpool be without Van? Well, Alisson has missed how much football this season? Konate misses how much football? Virgil van Dijk missed nearly a whole year. What do you mean, where would they be? We've seen where they'd be. Please do not put Vicario, Van der Ven, and Romero on the level of these players. It's absolute, guys. I just don't know how to do it anymore. I'll be honest. It's mad. It's absolutely mad. Honestly, isn't it, Rodney? That these people, none of them will come on. By the way, notice how not one of them is so sure of themselves. They go, "I'll come on and talk to Savva." Not one of them. Not one of them. You are picking and choosing which stats to highlight just to go against the manager. It's only a 3-game swing from 12th to 7th. A 3-game swing. So all the teams above us are not going to win for 3 games and we're going to win 3 in a row. Mr. Rubin, you won't come on either because you're a YouTube troll. No picture, no real proper name. Come on and tell me then, if I'm choosing which stats, why am I giving you 15 months of evidence? 15 months of evidence, but I'm choosing which stats. Mr. Rubin, again, because you don't like the truth, let me show you evidence. Look at this, everybody, right? Mr. Rubin says it's a 3-game swing to 7th. Let that sink in. 3 games. So we think Spurs are going to win our next 3 league games. Brentford, Brighton, Fulham, Villa, and Bournemouth, none of them are going to pick up a point. Think before you talk. This is the crazy thing about this. Think before you talk. You are picking and choosing what stats you highlight. Well, I mean, look, straight away, look at Spurs. Only Southampton have got worse form than Spurs in the Premier League. Only Southampton have got worse form than Spurs in the last 6. Right? Only 2 teams, by the way, let this sink in the last 15 months, of the 17 teams that were in the Premier League last year and this year, only 2 teams have been worse than Tottenham in the last 15 months. But this guy says, I'm cherry picking. Okay, so why have we been the 3rd worst team in the league over the last 15 months? They don't want truth. It's madness. I think Gray should be out on loan. playing midfield. I don't think Gray is a centre-back. Gray should be playing midfield for Spurs or out on loan somewhere. What I actually said, Ian, about Archie Gray, he should be on loan, playing in midfield. Now, people could disagree with that. Yes, he's stepped in and done well at the back, but he's a centre midfielder that we've bought for 40 million, 30 million, whatever, and not played him in midfield. Mate, go for it. Mate, go for it. Mark, you know me. Go for it. Go for it. Ian, what you've done the brilliant thing here. You've done what a lot of people do. Your first point was completely wrong, so you've now changed. Come on, Ian. Let's see you. Come on, put your camera on. Let's have a chat, and you can tell where we've improved. So I've no problem with you disliking Ange. He keeps pulling like this once the squad is back. Again, Ridwan, not true. 15 months. Only 2 Premier League teams have been worse over 15 months. So it wasn't because the squad was out. Again, revisionism, not true. These are incorrect information. This is simple. Absolutely, Tony. Isn't it funny when we don't play suicide football, we don't get opened up like a can of worms? It's madness. We haven't had a good run of games or a team that has the same run of players. The likes of Liverpool play the same. Guy, 15 months. This is not true, Guy. Again, guys and girls, this is not true what Guy says. When he says we haven't had a run of team with the same players, the second half of last season, we were dreadful with a run with all the same players. The first 10 games, 11, 12 games of this season, we had our players fit, right? And we didn't have a good run. This is not true. I will speak out against the truth. No, he hasn't. I'm not an Ange supporter. I'm a Tottenham supporter. Every pundit gave us a good reflection. They said, considering all the injuries and suspension, now I don't know what that means. I don't understand what that means. It's madness. Sav, do you think Ange would have learned from the Liverpool game that playing less aggressive football? Listen, I hope so, Dave. I hope so. All his fans, by the way, I'm a Spurs fan. I'm not an Ange fan. All his fans that tell you how great his football is. Isn't it funny that our best wins this season have come when we don't actually play his ridiculous style of football? Isn't that funny? Do you know what I mean? And I agree with you. The back to basics. Thank you. Sure, but they've had 15 months, 18 months with this manager. So why not? John, but you don't come in here and just say trolly things. So it's fine. I know. Let this sink in. With 3 wins, with 3 games spin from 7th, which is Europa Conference League. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. I'm a bad fan. I'm toxic negative. We've got fans that are saying, Stephen, but don't worry. We're only 3 wins away from 7th. Well, we're not, because everyone above us will not just suddenly lose 3 in a row and we win 3 in a row. You watch the excuse at the end of the season when we don't finish high up in the table, right? It's mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. Ash, but come on, mate. Like, look, what are we doing here? Constantine said, Savva, was good speaking to you last time, and come maybe an hour if you'd still be on by then. Even as a Chelsea fan, you should definitely stick with Ange. Constantine, you do realise it's not my choice whether we get rid of Ange. All I know is, I've said this for over a year, at the moment, this cup run is masking how bad he's doing a job in the league. I even think we've been crap in the Europa League, but people don't want to see it. I mean, I don't know how many times I have to make this video as to why Ange isn't the guy. I really don't. Louis K has said, yeah, 3-game swing, like winning on X3. And no, yeah, it's absolutely madness, isn't it? I'm positive we're 90 minutes away from a final. I don't feel like moaning today. Savva speaks a lot of sense. I was happy yesterday. Matt, do you know the difference, Matt? I tried being happy the moment we beat Liverpool, and all these same fans came in and abused me and wouldn't let me be. Right? They wouldn't let me be, mate. Again, don't listen to Guy. Guy is not telling the truth. Guy is not telling you facts. This is not true. When we lost to Crystal Palace, who was on the pitch? when we lost to Newcastle, when we lost to Arsenal, when we couldn't beat Leicester, who was on the pitch? Crystal Palace, Ipswich, who was on the pitch, right? The back end of last season, the second half of last season, all the players were in the same positions on the pitch. This is not true. Do not listen to this, right? This is not true. This is a comfort that people like Guy are telling themselves because they don't like the truth. It's madness. People like us help your channel. We all support your channel because we like it. It doesn't mean we have to agree. It's not about agreeing, Ian, but you can't just put incorrect things into the chat. I agree with you, Ian. As I said, I've got no problem with you, Ian. But you started this off by saying we haven't been good for 15 years. And that's not true. It's not true. It's something people say to feel better about themselves. Now, do I want Spurs to win a cup? Absolutely. But is that my barometer of how well this manager is doing? Not for me. Mark has said, Guy, do some stat checking. Our win percentage with VDV and Romero was 42. It's 41 without them. It makes no difference. I know people don't want the facts, Mark. People don't want the facts. Go on TalkSport and have your say. I don't just invite myself onto TalkSport. I don't think that's quite how it works, Brett. Why don't you? What do you mean? Barbaric, big up, bro, said, I love how fans promote data analysis, which revolves around stats and facts, but we can't use stats and facts against the manager and club. Mind-blowing. Absolutely. Absolutely. We love stats and facts, yeah, when it supports us in a good light. When it supports us in a bad light, we don't. So what I always do, I always say to people, if you don't think that my facts and stats are correct, come on and show me ones that prove me wrong. No one ever does. I'm waiting for that. 15 months is enough. Ridwan, you're not listening. He's been here longer than 15 months, but in that 15 months, in the last 15 months, we've gone backwards, Ridwan. We've gone backwards, factually. Pro gaming, my bro said, fact is, it's been the worst year I can remember. Things need to improve, and I believe it's down to Ange. Factually, the last year has been one of the worst we've seen in Premier League history. But no, we're getting better. Ian told us we're getting better. Don't worry about results. We're getting better. Based on what? Craig Lee, absolutely, my man. There's two sides to football, defence and attack. You need to do both well to win. Absolutely. Tony said we had the same injuries against Liverpool. Just saying. Isn't it funny, Tony? Injuries only work when you lose. Isn't it funny? Do you know what? Yeah? Do you know the funny thing, Tony? And Perchy said this to me yesterday. Bang on. He showed me loads of screenshots, yeah? Loads of screenshots he showed me of people saying last week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago, but injuries, but Daniel Levy didn't back Ange, all of these things. Then he showed me screenshots after yesterday beating Liverpool. No one's mentioning Levy. No one's mentioning a bad transfer window, right? No one's mentioning these things. Then all of a sudden, when we lose a game, oh yeah, but we're just a team full of a fan base full of excuses at every term. Savva, where do other YouTubers get the news of possible signings? This player, that player, when none of these players are mentioned on Sky. Okay, so I don't know. I don't do that. What I will do is if there's a link where, for example, everyone's saying Kolo Muani, lots of reputable people are saying that Spurs have inquired about Kolo Muani. What I will do is, if I was going to do it, I haven't, but I'll do a video saying Spurs to sign Muani, ? Right? Some YouTubers will go, Spurs signing Kolo Muani, great signing or whatever. Listen, it's the YouTube game. Sensationalism sells, unfortunately. Sensationalism sells. Each to their own. It's not my style of YouTube. I'm not knocking anyone that does it. I just prefer to stick with facts and evidence. So what I might do is ask you. I might turn around and go, like this morning, I've seen a report that we all know Marmoush is wanted by Man City. We know they're in talks. I've seen a report this morning saying that if Marmoush leaves, that Stuttgart want Werner. It would be the equivalent of me going, Werner leaving Spurs for Stuttgart. It's not quite true, but each to their own. Listen, I'm not here to tell any YouTuber how to do their YouTube. Each person, they do their own content. They live with their own truth. That's absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine. I'm with you most days, Savva. We just pick Liverpool still rank the day after, have a day. No, Matt, you're not understanding it. Listen to how this started. Again, people like Matt don't listen. I was very happy. And what happened? The abuse in my comments. This, that, the other. You, this, you, that. So I came on stage and said, right, I've turned off my comments. Here's why. We beat Liverpool. But this shows how low as a fan base, this shows where our standards are. That we think for 3 days after beating Liverpool in the first leg of a semi-final, that we should be, oh my God, we're amazing. Go on a 5, 6, 7, 8 game winning run. Then we can talk. Madness. The context is lost on people. Scott said, I don't want to be a party pooper, but it's highly unlikely we can even get a draw at Liverpool. Just saying, let's not carry it away. Listen, can we get a draw at Liverpool or a win? Why not? Why not? What I will say is it's a month away. We don't know what form we'll be in. We don't know who's available. We don't know the same for Liverpool. We don't know the team we'll put out, the team they'll put out. You would probably think Liverpool are going to go full strength to come back and try and win that semi-final. I don't know. What I do know is I'm not going to celebrate like we've made a final when I know there's another leg. I'm not going to do it. I just can't do it. The same way you dismiss Ange's first games, why can't this poor run of form be dismissed? Mr. Rubin, I can't with you. This is trolling now. Ange's first 10 games was a very, very long time ago. His poor run of form, as you called it, has been 15 months. 15 months. Because he didn't want to integrate them, Mr. Rubin. He wasn't integrating them until we got injuries. Yeah? That's the thing. Gray's never played in his own position. He's not integrating him. He's using him because he's got no one else. Like, I don't understand how we can't see that. Madness. I personally don't even think we were that good in the famous first 10 undefeated games. I was always saying the football isn't great, but hopefully when he gets a foothold, it will get better. Do you know what? There are a lot of people that say that. Look, the first 10 games, I wouldn't expect us to be amazing since the manager's first 10 games. But by hook or crook, we didn't lose a game. But since then, it's been poor. And I know people don't want that fact, but it has been poor. Last one. All right, go on. The last question from me, and be honest. Surely the players still digging deep and winning in games like Liverpool shows they still believe in Ange. Sure. Okay. But why didn't they dig deep against Forest? Why didn't they dig deep against Bournemouth? Why didn't they dig deep against Glasgow Rangers? Why didn't they dig deep and win against Roma? Why didn't they dig deep against Chelsea? Why didn't they dig deep when we were losing 6-3? Why didn't they dig deep? This is what I mean. You've picked one game. What about all the others where they didn't dig deep? Hey? Jeff has said, I can give you an example of opposition fans. Take our game against you Boxing Day. Wolfie's preview first words were Elanga and Callum Hudson-Odoi against Spurs high back line. What do you mean by that? He's spot on, isn't he? I agree. Mark has said Nuno, Iriola, Maresca. 3 examples how you don't need 18 months. But Ange does. I don't know why. Ange does. Mate, pointless. I'd just get myself more abuse. It's pointless. Maybe Ange is listening to most of us and playing with a safer style. I hate the inverted fullback system. Do you know what, Louis? I will agree that he is changing when I see it for a run of games. But I don't think he is, because when you actually watch most games, like look against Newcastle, how many times did they get that ball over Porro's head because Porro's so high up the pitch and they got it to Anthony Gordon and Lewis Hall? Everyone knows what we're going to do. Big up. Let me get some super chats. Vanit has said, last year on being knocked out of Carabao, Ange said he isn't okay with winning a cup and being 10th in the league. He is celebrating the same this year. Vinny, the same fans that said to me last year, the same fans using this very excuse are now using the opposite this year. Honestly, as I said, as Perchie said, I can't claim it. If you change your opinion every week, you can't be wrong. Big up to you, Vinny. Really appreciate it. Steampunk Cowboy. That's a great name. Has just put in a super chat. Thank you very much, Steampunk Cowboy. Really appreciate you. By the way, guys and girls, apparently a lot of you don't appreciate me. 128 likes. Can we get that to 200 immediately, please? Come on, people. 128 likes. And we've only had one subscriber throughout the entire show. Now, listen, some people will like the way I stream. Some people won't. But what I do is involve my audience. Some people hate that. I am one of the only YouTubers that will involve my audience for an entire hour and a half, 2 hours. Maybe. Yeah. That might just me with some interaction with people. I can not do that if you want. But the fact is, if I'm only getting that many likes, then probably shows that people don't like it. And only one subscriber throughout the entire morning. Come on, people. Have a look at this, right? We are 15,434. I want to get that to 15,500. That's only 66 away. So please do help me with that. Thank you for the super chat, Steampunk. Rodney Roberts says, got to big up Savva every time. Facts all day. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you as well, Rodney. As I've said, my facts, I say my facts are the club facts. My facts are the form. Listen, if I'm wrong, and if this manager manages to finish top 4, if this manager manages to win things, brilliant. Happily be wrong. But what we can't do is just go, oh, we beat Liverpool. Let's forget how bad we are in the league. For me, it doesn't work like that. Big up to you, Rodney. The Sheriff, guys and girls, the Sheriff and also the other Mark, the two Marks have got a new channel coming out tomorrow, I believe, today, called The Two Marks Talk Tottenham. There's the link. Please smash that button and subscribe to them. Please do help them out. Both really nice guys. So please do subscribe to the two Marks. Thanks, Mark Sheriff. Appreciate that. And D&B Forever, always putting in the super stickers. Thank you very much. Please bear with me 1 second. Sometimes I forget to stay hydrated. In my basement. I love it. Basement. Josh Hayden has said, with Lang, there is basically no point speculating. Odegaard and Kinski join with no leaks. Yeah, look, I find as a YouTuber, the transfer markets are interesting because I could come on and do a video every day about X player, Y player, Z player. I never know what's true, what isn't. I like to talk about them when I hear Spurs have made contact. So, for example, we are hearing from the likes of Ornstein and Romano that Spurs have made contact about Muani. So, from that point, I think it stops becoming clickbait and we go, all right, we've asked about him. Doesn't mean he's signing, but we've asked about him. Now it's a good conversation. Thank you to the two people that just subscribed. That really does mean a lot to me. Thank you very much. Oh, God, no, not this guy. Oh, not this guy. Cried Parker said, hi, Mrs. Savva. I mean, I don't know if you're taking the piss. Cried Parker is one of the reasons why I turn off my YouTube notifications now. What we are trying to make you understand is that given that you consider us to be the worst team in the Premier League in terms of defense, no, I don't. I've never said that. Again, guys and girls, I've given you another example of somebody that just lies. When have I ever said we're the worst team in the Premier League in terms of defense? When have I ever said that? Right? This is when people lie. How can he then say what we're trying to make you understand? No. First of all, you've mocked me by calling me Mrs. Savva. Second of all, yeah, you're saying something I've not said. I don't think we can get a draw at Liverpool. Sorry, we can if we don't. I agree. Sorry, yeah, I read that the other way. I agree with you. I truly agree with you. Why not? Go to Liverpool. Sometimes, though, whether we play gung-ho football or not isn't down to us. Sometimes it's down to the other team pushing us back. Look, D&B forever. As I said, you know what? I was sitting here on my watch along, right? I was sitting here on my watch along saying, nothing silly. Keep that clean sheet. I was more animated than normal. Get over the line. Take a lead. And then the moment the game finished, hundreds of people coming in, gutted. We won. I bet you're gutted. Why would I be gutted that Spurs won a game? Isn't that what I want? Isn't that why I want better? Agreed. I don't need the stats and facts. I see that we're poor, but other people don't seem to need it. Savva, if you use ladder position as the barometer of a quality side, Man City and others are all worse than they were last year. Yes. Yes, Ian. I don't understand your point. Of course, Man City are worse than this time last year. Yes. What? I don't understand your point. I've not said anything on the contrary. Of course, Man City are worse than this time last year. They're not top of the table. Of course, they're worse than this time last year. But so are we, and you can't admit it. You said we're getting better. Which one is it, Ian? Which one is it? Unbelievable. Why do you think everyone is still backing Ange but didn't want to do that with other managers? This is something I really can't understand, Verox. I really can't understand. This manager's got the worst points per game ratio for 27 years. Look, I'll put this up and you watch Ian will come in here and absolutely defend, not Lubo, by the way. I love Lubo, not Ian. Look at this. Look at this. People go, my stats. Savva, you're cherry picking. Look at that. Look at that. And everyone's telling me that I'm making things up. The worst managerial record in 27 seasons this year. But I'm making things up. Now, what's funny is no one at the beginning of the season said, God, I think we're going to be terrible and finish 12th. Making things up. Ian, come on and debate me on that, Ian MacArthur. Come on and debate me on that. Madness. Philly, big up, brother. I said, imagine being in a relationship for 15 months when things are going bad and it's not going anywhere. I know, mate. I know it's what we do. But it's like the cup run is like having a good holiday. Don't worry. Me and the missus have had a bad 15 months. We had a nice holiday. Let's stay together. That's what Spurs are doing at the moment. Oh, we do laugh, don't we? Savva, if he wins a cup, keep him for the time being. But it's got to improve in the league. Yeah? Winning the cup is great in that moment. Winning the cup will be something we can never take away from history. Right? But if he wins a cup and finishes top half, yes. But for me, you can't finish bottom half. I don't care if you win a cup or not. You cannot finish bottom half. Hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. There he is. I love Jose. I love Jose. I really, really do. Morning, Reverend. He calls me the Reverend. I hope you and the whole gang here are well. Big up. We're just doing our usual football. You know my style. People come to my channel and then they're surprised at my channel comments and stuff. It's mad. Yeah, it's madness. Listen, let's get these guys some subscribers, and thank you to the person that just subscribed to me as well. We're 64 away now. I like you, Lee. Lee, if you're free, jump on. Lee, if you're free, jump on. If Maz is free, he can jump on. Let's see. Paul has said, whether you like him or not, always comes with facts that you can't dispute. Absolutely. Yeah, people can hate me. I'm bored caring. I'm really bored caring if people like me or not. I'm fully aware I don't get invited onto the big channels because I'm not liked. Fine. That's fine. I don't care. At the end of the day, I'm just going to come with my truth. Piercy, I do. I interact with people, whether I agree with them or disagree with them. Still, people hate me. Some YouTubers actually say to me, Savva, you're your own worst enemy because you speak to the chat all day long. Yeah, you kind of prompt the haters. But hey, would you rather it be this, or would we rather have a YouTube channel where I just ignore every comment that comes in? Big up to Archer, who's put in a super sticker. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. I really, really do. Thank you, Archer. Listen, there's 415 people in here. Let me ask, right, can we get that to 15,450? That's only 15 people, right? That's 15 people. That's about 3% of you in here. Can we get that up to 15,450? I would be upset if I wasn't. Please, Savva, stop with the facts. Yeah, people don't want them. I know. My bad. No, mate, listen, I'm good. I'm absolutely good. I love it when people like Ridwan just say silly things. Don't expect things to change suddenly. I'm not. It's been 18 months. I'm expecting to see us do this up the league table. It's been 15 months of bad form, and he's been here for 18 months. So it's not suddenly. Archer, big up to you. I said, a question for those slightly mathematically challenged. What is the bigger sample size, 10 games or 48 games? Oh, they won't like that one. They'll have an excuse. And you type people, not one of you, after me saying, can we get 15 subscribers, has. Thank you to all those that have liked so far today. We've got 186. We should have 250, but it is what it is. What I like, I'll tell you what I like, people. I like people that, so even like when me and Sean go at it, and me and Sean are friends, when me and Sean go at it, at least we both go at it from, we're both bringing some facts and evidence or something. Whether we disagree with each other, we're bringing something to the table, right? We're bringing something to the table. When people just say things like this, it's not bringing anything, is it? It's a nice statement. It's not bringing anything. So far, I don't know what that means. So far, well, it's not improved. You said we're improving. You said we've been bad for 15 years. Most of what you said has been very wrong, unfortunately. Leah said, got to be optimistic with a return at Anfield. I really hope we can turn a corner now, but I'd have to see it to believe it. Let's see what we do against Arsenal. Listen, absolutely. Do you know what, Lee? Go and win at Arsenal, and then suddenly you've got, I mean, we're going to beat Tamworth. Go and win at Arsenal. Suddenly you've got Liverpool, Tamworth, Arsenal. You've got 3 games. Then we've got Everton, make it 4. But, right? Sure. Then I start going, okay, all right, this is changing. This is picking up. But what we've done, this is all the hate I've got in the last few days. Yeah. All the hate I've got in the last few days since we beat Liverpool, which is crazy. I'm a bloody Tottenham fan, right? Is exactly what happened after Man City game. People making videos about me and, look at Savva, he's dumb, he's this, he's that. Then we didn't win for how long after the Man City game? Like, can we not just wait and see what happens rather than always thinking that everything's amazing? I want smoke blown up my rear end. Oh my gosh. Big up to you. Big up Tony Rodriguez. Said Spurs record at Anfield since 99. Played 27, 1-1, drawn 7, lost 19. Listen, Tony, we need to make sure that it's either the won or the drawn column that we fall into. Listen, let's see. Anfield under the lights. My worry is because of all the hoo-ha of the should it have been a red card, should Bergvall have been on to score, I just think Liverpool are going to be angry and no one wants that. Not understanding fully stat and without watching football is a terrible thing. The hard part, making stat reflect on the pitch. I don't quite understand what you mean. Sorry there. I don't understand what you mean. Who we got in? John Lee says, Savva, I don't see any trophy if Ange play Ange ball. As I've said, when we stop playing his ridiculous style of football, we look better. So all these people going, oh, look at his philosophy. It's his philosophy that's losing games. When he comes away from his philosophy, we're doing better. Alfie has said, I agree, Savva. Bottom half is totally unacceptable, especially with spending 400 million. Even if he wins a cup, he has to finish in the top half. Then he deserves a completely agree. Yeah, it can't just be, oh, we're on a good cup run, so we can be crap in the league for over a year. Ian is back and says, Savva, I love your show and I'll always be a subscriber, but will probably never agree with you. Apart from debate is the only avenue of opinion. Look, Ian, you don't have to agree with me, but you haven't been able to bring any facts to the table to prove me wrong. That's all I ask for from people. Bring me some facts to tell. You've said categorically we've been bad for 15 years. Not true. You said categorically we're improving. Not true. So, look, it is what it is, right? What's my next big up watch along? Tonight, Aston Villa versus West Ham in the FA Cup. Aston Villa, let me just double check that I've got the time right. It is tonight, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Yeah. Okay, mad. Aston Villa, I will be live from 7:30 p.m. Aston Villa versus West Ham, live on Big Up tonight. I love the shows over there on Big Up. Mark, they're brilliant, aren't they? We do have a good laugh over there. And what I love is we don't have all this delusion. We don't have all this made up facts. We just watch a game of football. We talk all things football. Savva, you have to fall, then get back stronger. Oh my God. Josh, at least you admit it. Do you know what, Josh? What I love, this is it. If somebody turns around and says, Savva, it's not going well, I can't prove it, but I want to back him anyway, I'll just go, cool, whatever. I don't agree with whatever. It's when people try, like Ian and Ridwan have, when they've tried to put evidence, but without putting evidence, that's where I get annoyed. Give him until the end of the season. It's not my choice, mate. I'm not Daniel Levy. Let's see who's in the chat. Any of my regulars? I'm just trying to see if there's any of my regulars, any YouTube viewers that want to, any of my YouTube compatriots that want to come on. I'm just trying to see who's in there. Big up to all of you in the chat. Tamworth. Let's talk about Tamworth. Mark Sheriff said, is this right? Yes, I haven't actually set for the show for tonight, but that is my homepage on Big Up. That is correct. Let me share this with you. Really, really enjoy Big Up. Here we go. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll ask nicely, but people are really tight. I can't even get people who watch my shows to like and subscribe. So getting them over there would be impossible. There is the link to my Big Up. By the way, we're not going anywhere yet. There is the link to my Big Up account. I'll pin it as well. Big Up, for anyone that doesn't know, is a football streaming content, purely football, where you have to be invited on as a channel to be a content creator. This is the channel where I do all of my non-Spurs related content. This is where I do all of my non-Spurs related content. We have some fun. We do some watch-alongs. Yeah. One second. Let's have a look. 1 second. Anyone want to join my stream? Hang on. Here we go. 1 second. 1 second, people. Man, want to join. 1 second. I'm just sending the link to a couple of people. See if they might want to pop on. We just have a general chat. What day are we? Oh, that's a Thursday morning chat with Savva. Let's try and find the right day. That always helps. There we go. And we'll put it in here as well. Let's see. I'll put it out there. We'll see if anyone's available. It is what it is. Guys and girls, Mark Sheriff, yeah, you're more than welcome to come on, mate. Let me put the link in, please. This is just for Mark Sheriff. Unless I invite you on, this is just for Mark Sheriff. Please, there's the link for you, Mark. There is the link. I have pinned my my Big Up account as well. So if anyone would like to come over and be a community member there, we do have good fun there. Phil said, I still have my questions on Ange and want him out. But that don't mean he can't prove me wrong. Absolutely. I'm also not ignoring that there is context to our poor season. There is, sure, but what about the 15 months, Phil? Phil, you come on as well. I bet. Phil, would you like to come on? Phil can never come on. He's always big in my chat, always giving it a bit of this, isn't you, Phil? Never comes on. By the way, I'm friends with Phil, so before anyone thinks I'm being rude to him. Philly, if you'd like to come on, of course. Has to be people I know and I trust. I'm not just going to bring anybody, any old person on. And we'll just have a general football chat for a little bit. So we've got Tamworth this weekend. Let me know what you think. Has anyone seen the interview with the Tamworth manager talking about Spurs' style of play? It's actually pretty funny. It really, really is funny. There he is, Mark. The other Mark talks Tottenham. And now you're part of Tottenham diehards and...
No. I'll tell you backstage, love.
Okay. I will shut up. Tell us about your new channel. Tottenham.
It's me and Mark Cook. We just sort of exchanged messages from a WhatsApp group. And he said, I've always wanted to go on YouTube, but I've never been confident enough to do it on my own. Big up, Mark. I know you're in the chat somewhere. And I said, well, let's do it, mate. I said, we'll use your YouTube channel and my StreamYard.
Nice.
And so we've combined. We've decided to start 8 p.m. tomorrow.
Nice. 8 p.m. Saturday evening. People get over there. Martinson, you've been and please put the link in again. Feel free to whack the link in and get people to subscribe. I'm a big fan of trying to help and promote people. Hang on, is there motion at my front door? 1 second. Sorry, 1 second. I just want to say, it's the wife pulling up in her car. Tamworth. Surely this is a weekend where we can all go and relax. Surely we can all relax. This is going to be a Spurs win, isn't it?
You would like to think so. Put it this way, if we don't win, then we don't deserve to be in the competition in the first place.
Sure.
I mean, I know they've got a 3G pitch, but as far as I'm aware, a lot of the pitches at Hotspur Way are all 3G-ish, 4G-ish,
right,
whatever
okay.
they
So
are.
so it's what they train on at the training ground, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they're all like sort of plasticky pitches, if you want to call them that. But, I mean, surely we must win up there. Surely. I mean, we should be able to put our youth team out, or a lot of the youngsters.
Well, so do you agree with this then? And welcome, Philly. I'll bring you in a minute. When we're saying against Tamworth, he said, sorry, big up to Lee. Sorry, how rude of me, Lee. Terrible manners. My mum would lock me up in my basement in my Mrs. Jumper if she could hear me talking like that. Lee has said, against Tamworth, I fully expect Dorrington, Yang, Moore, Lancashire to start. Although we have issues at the back, some of the starters who you assume will start against Arsenal will have to play. Lee, I completely agree. For me, Sod, you've heard me talk for ages. Guys, are we fully expecting Dorrington, Yang, Moore, Lancashire, who can't buy a minute in a Spurs shirt, even though we've got injuries and have been losing games? We don't throw another striker. Are we expecting to see these young players against Tamworth?
Yeah, I'm expecting to see Brandon Austin as well. And if I was Brandon Austin, I would actually hand in a transfer request as well. There's a few players in there. I'm thinking, why don't you hand in a transfer request? It's about time you just realise that you're not going to be played here. So time to hand in a transfer request and go about your business. That's just me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, actually. Let's make this a bit of an open mic session. I'm going to put the link to the show in the chat. If anyone would like to come on, please have your camera on. If you're not going to put your camera on, you're not coming on stage, all right? You're just not going to be allowed in. And if you're just going to troll, you will be booted immediately. But hey, let's make this open mic night, even though it's 11:39 in the morning.
That's good enough.
Well, guys, this is an interesting one. Let's explore that avenue. And this is what I love about football. We can go down any avenue we want. Mark, let me ask you, off the back of Philly's point, the Brandon Austin situation is interesting, right? So you've got Brandon Austin, who's 25 and has had to wait until he's 25 to make his debut, which is absolutely bananas. It's absolutely crazy.
25 is quite young for a goalie, though.
No,
Yeah,
Mark.
but
No
not to
way.
make your debut.
Well,
No.
no. I agree that. But keepers can go on to that like 40.
No, I agree with you, but the point is, he comes in. He has a decent game. I do again. I think everyone went overboard, but he had a decent game against Newcastle, and then the big talk before the game against Liverpool was, does Ange Postecoglou drop? Big up Rinketic. I nearly said your name right there. Big up Rinketic. Sorry, I sort of stopped halfway through, mate. It's like somebody going big up Fit. A lot of people going, oh my God, this is crazy. You can't throw in a young goalkeeper. He's just joined the club. Then they're all praising him. Now people are saying, well, he's got to stay in for Tamworth. People like Philly are going, well, no, hang on. Brandon Austin's got to play. Mark, who should play against Tamworth?
Surely Brandon Austin. Surely. Okay. I mean, he's only made one appearance. One first team appearance. But like, I agree with Philly. If I was he's just signed a 5-year contract. Was it him that signed it? I think he just signed a new contract. I think so. It was either him or the other one, the other youngster.
You keep talking. I'll find out this information.
If that's the case here, then that's even worse. If that is the case, he's just signed a new contract. That's worse.
I'm pretty certain he signed a contract in the summer. That they signed him up. It was either him. Who was the other one that played pre-season?
Alfie Whiteman, innit?
Alfie Whiteman. It was either Brandon or Alfie that signed a new contract with the club.
Let's have a look. So I'm looking at the Spurs players at the moment. Whiteman's contract apparently runs out. Hang on, this might be 1 second. His expiration date. Right. So Austin's contract expires in 2029.
Yeah. Well, that's him then.
Yeah, and Whiteman's contract expires in June of this year. So you're right, Mark. It's Austin. Yeah,
I always am right, Savva. In my mind, I am anyway.
You can't be. You can't be because you told me you preferred Ange Postecoglou to Pochettino.
I can't remember saying this. No, I was going to say no. Goodness gracious.
But Mark, that's YouTube. You see what happened there?
Oh,
you didn't say it. I've told everyone that you did say it, and people would just go, yeah, he said it. It's brilliant.
When we start our channel tomorrow, I'm going to get all sorts of pelters in the comments.
Yeah. Let me ask you, Rinketic, welcome to the show, my friend. First of all, how are you? And second of all,
I'm all right.
Is it Austin or is it Kinski, the player we've signed that we just keep in the team now? What do you reckon? Tamworth away.
I think I talked with Philly the other day about the Austin situation. I feel like he's been here since he was like 18, like in the senior squad, and no one really rated him. Even though we had like Gulin as a second one, and I forgot the other one. There were another like meh goalie, and he was always like third or fourth goalie.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe his time at Spurs is over. He should do like what Martinez did and go to another club and try to be the first one there.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I mean, listen, let me just say welcome to Jay, welcome to Ash. Ash Matic, I'm pleased that you're alive. I have WhatsApped Ash Matic about 30 times in the last 30 days, and he just ignores me every single time. It's not true. It's not true. Ash, it's been a while, my man. How are you? And welcome to the most toxic, negative channel on YouTube. How are you, bro?
Yeah, no, I'm good, man. I'm blessed, man. How are you guys? Hope you're well.
Big up.
Good to see everyone. Big up, man. Big up. I saw the thing in the chat. I said, you know what? Why not, man? I've been meaning to come on for a minute still. I can't lie. So
you're looking fresh. It looks like you just had a trim, you just had a cut.
Well, it's the weekend. You know how it goes, man. Cool.
Listen, from the moment I stopped drinking, Ash, I stopped caring about that. Like normally Fridays, I'd be like, now I'm like, nah, let's put on this big hoodie, sit indoors and chill out. But Ash, talk to me. We're talking all things Spurs, Tamworth, goalkeeper situations, Spurs fans losing their mind at beating Liverpool but ignoring the league.
Yeah.
Talk to me about something you want to talk about.
You know what? It's mad. I've been so mad conflicted about the whole Postecoglou situation. I've been mad conflicted. I've been on the fence. And rightly so, because the performances have led me down this type of route. And I'll tell you where I'm at the moment. I still think this you can play attacking football, yes. You can play possession football, yes. My issue is with the intensity and the press. Now, in my opinion, not every team you can press high up in the way in which we want to do. Do you know what I mean? And not get caught out. And then not every team you can literally be high intensity with the football, because you will make mistakes and it won't always work. That's just my personal opinion. And so,
can I take over from you, mate? Big up. First time I see you as well, man. First time in the stream with you, yeah? I rate your stuff, mate. But first and foremost, right? The way that we play with the high intensity, I don't like us playing at 88 miles per hour, because I think that causes players to make mistakes anyway. When I watched Spurs Football on the weekend, he made a lot of mistakes there because he was playing at high intensity. And that's what I saw. Now, the second bit I saw as well, yeah, is that some teams like Liverpool allow you to have the ball, allow you to play with intensity, and then what they'll do is they'll break on you with pace, like I saw them do to Bournemouth with Diaz, and they'll break on you, and then you'll be too far upfield, and they'll just hit you, and they'll just keep hitting you and keep doing it over and over again. That's what I saw, and that's why I always said that Liverpool would beat Tottenham, because the way that we play is conducive to the way that they play. So it's like you invite them to hit you on the break.
Do you know what I think, bro? And I'll add on to that. I think that they actually had a lot more possession than we had. And I feel like Spurs, we feel like, oh, we've adapted to the team. Not really that we've adapted. It's just that teams that have more technical ability will naturally have more of the ball. That's all it is. Like, we don't have those technical players that can hold on to it like that, if that makes sense. People might argue and say, no, Bergvall, Bentancur, Basuma, etc. We do have technical players, but I've seen the way we play and compared to other teams, it's not that we're adapting, it's just that the other team are better.
Ash, let me ask you on that, mate. Let me ask you. I think this is a really good talking point when we actually talk. I love talking about football tactics and style rather than just going, yay, we're all Spurs. I want to talk. I think you're right. So when I watch us play against Newcastle, for example, we try and do everything at 100 miles per hour, and the ball keeps bouncing back to us. And most teams that try and do everything 100 miles per hour, they will. Yes, we can look at Man City for the last decade when you've got Rodri, De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Gundogan, David Silva. These people don't lose the football. The great Barcelona teams. When we try and do it, it's crazy. Do you think that the way we played against Man City, the way we played the other night against Liverpool, where it's a little bit more of a traditional, basic 4 at the back, 2 in midfield, a playmaker actually allowed to be a playmaker, do you think that's what's best for Spurs moving forward? And do you think that Ange is going to adapt to that when not forced? Because what you just said there, Ash, there's a difference between being forced into it because Liverpool and City have the ball and actually saying, these are our tactics. So do you think he's going to?
I read what he said in his press conference, the embargo, you know, the bit that comes after. And he said, look, I haven't really changed things. It's just, you know, I was forced to play the midfield I had.
Yeah.
We're tired. That's what he said.
Yeah. And basically, like, Liverpool, they're a top team. So that naturally they're going to have more of the ball. So then when I saw that, I was like, I'm not really sure if he did adapt then, if he's coming out and saying that. And that means that when the defenders do come back, your Mickey Van der Vens, your Romeros, I think what will naturally happen is he'll want to be a bit more aggressive and push higher up. That's just from what I see, from my opinion. I can't see a world where he has Mickey Van der Ven and Romero and still keeps the line slightly lower. I think he pushes the line back up, in my opinion.
And this is the thing, guys, isn't it? Listen, I make Ashmatic absolutely spot on. This is the thing for me. I know loads of people want to goad at me, and I get it because I'm provocative and blah, 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 and all this. But we heard all this after Man City, didn't we, guys on the top row? We heard all this after City. He's adapted. He's learned. He's changed. Then we didn't win a game for God knows how long because he went back to the kind of high line football. So Ash has given his opinion. What do you guys reckon? Do we now, I'm not talking about Tamworth, but do we now acknowledge, all right, we've got Arsenal, right? Okay, sit in a little bit. We've got Everton away. Do you know what I mean? Like, do we acknowledge that, or does Ange go straight back to Ange? I
said on the channel I was on, right, that I used 2 examples. We've got a third one now with the Liverpool game. Yeah. The 2 examples I gave was the Man City in the Cup game, in the League Cup game, and Aston Villa at home, where we didn't have 60-odd% of the ball. You know, and we did sit in, and we did have a flat back 4, and we did hit them on the break, fast passes, and hit them on the break. We didn't congest the midfield with all that inverted nonsense. You know, where they all get in each other's way and all these passes just bounce off of people. That is when we look at our best. Yeah. Playing like that.
Counter-attacking, Mark.
Yeah, counter-attacking. Well, put it this way, right? All right, none of us liked him. Well, I didn't mind his football because it was sort of winning football. But when Conte was here and we had the back 5, right, he would have killed for the back 5 we got now.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
You know, because Porro and Udogie, they were bought for him as wing backs. They're not full backs. It's 2 different, you know, it's the same sort of position, but it's not. Different. Because if you're a wing back, your main job is to get forward. Which, as we've seen, Porro is brilliant going forward. He's just not so good going the other way. You know, so... But like Ange's system is just too crazy. It's just too crazy. There's people everywhere. You know, it just doesn't work. Or all this inverting stuff. And the games that we played well in, we have sat back. We have defended. We have like hit them on the break. You know, it's, you know, well, put it this way. When we lost 6-3 to Liverpool home, if he didn't change it on purpose and it was only an accident, then he's mad. Because if you get pumped 6-3 at home, bearing in mind at 5-1, the fans were still singing his name in the South Stand that I heard on the TV. It's crazy. It's like mind blown. Why would you sing his name when we're getting absolutely battered? You know, but like if he didn't learn and he didn't do that on purpose, I'd question his mentality, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, guys, look, when we look at the way Tottenham play, I always feel that when we have these 10, 15 minutes of madness where sometimes we look great, like we had 10, 15 minutes where we sucker punch Man City, 10, 15 minutes where we completely done West Ham in, where we completely done Villa in. I always feel that it's always a bit erratic. It doesn't ever feel like it's by design that we do that. It feels like it's very erratic. Now, I don't mind that every now and then. I'm just not sure, guys, that style of football can ever be sustainable. You know, and that's why in the league we are where we are, but in one-off cup games we seem to do quite well. Is there a difference, guys, between the league?
Yeah, but Savva, I said it to you before. I swear down, I said this to you before. We saw this growing up as kids. We saw this under Ozzy Ordelis. But at that time, we had Jurgen Klinsmann to bail us out of the fire. We have not got that level of player in the squad this time. So that level of football is not sustainable. Our defense is weak. I'm sorry, it is. Right, and when you leave 2 at the back here, and you're asked, and everyone else is pushed forward, and you've got 2 at the back, 1 ball over the top, 1 ball down the side, and they're through. And it's every single time I've been noticing this, and this is over a year I've noticed this with Tottenham Hotspurs. But I sit there and I watch this every game, and I'm looking at it. And I'm thinking, right, when we play Galatasaray, you've got Osham in there. 1 ball, 1 side ball through, bang, there he is. He's running one-on-one with your defender. And it's every time. And I'm looking at every game the same way. Our fullbacks pushing forward and inverting, cuts down the options for Maddison, because Maddison doesn't have that wide ball over to the wing back to push him into space. So that cuts down his passing options anyway. So I'm looking at the way that Ange Postecoglou sets up, and I'm thinking, all these tactics that you've got there, they're not playing the player to the best position. You're not playing him in the right position. You're not playing to get the best out of any of the players that you've got there, and it's horrendous. But that's just my opinion, anyway.
You know what I think? I personally think that Spurs have been set up from not just Conte, but previous managers as a more of a transitional team, if that makes sense, more of a counter-attacking team.
Yeah.
And so I think when Postecoglou came in, his idea was to change us from that into more of a possession-based team. But to be a possession-based team, you kind of need players that can, like what Savva and what some of you guys are saying is, you need more players that can hold on to the ball, that are a bit more technical. Because when playing out from the back, which we like to do, which most Premiership teams have adopted now, you need to have players that are quite press resistant in all assets, maybe in tight areas and wide areas, because sometimes when we put out in the back, it's down the sides and centrally as well. But I do think the goalkeeper coming in has been a massive improvement. I know it's early days, but in terms of passing out from the back, I do see a difference from the style of play and what we want to do in terms of like playing out from the back. That's the first phase for me of attack. If you can,
I hear
you. Beat that kind of press where teams commit 4 or 5 bodies to try to win that ball back high up the pitch. If you could beat that press, then all of a sudden the space is in behind. Now, the problem is at the moment, or what I'm seeing in the midfield, is Basuma is sometime-ish when you pass him that ball out from the back, positioning, and is he safe in possession? I have question marks. If he is decision-making, I have question marks. Where he should be on the pitch technically, I have question marks. Then you go, Sarr. Is Pape Sarr safe on the ball? Is he technical enough to look after it when playing out from the back? Again, I've got question marks over his consistency. So that's another 2 players I'm looking at in the midfield. Bentancur, unfortunately, has had the ACL, and that means that, yes, his mobility isn't 100% at times, but then you need him to be consistent enough when playing out from the back that he's going to be safe on the ball. Out of the midfielders, I'd say he isn't as bad, but again, it's that kind of midfield position we're kind of lacking in technical ability in terms of playing out in the back. How many times have we lost the game swing or game momentum when teams are on top of us and we just need to calm it down a little bit, but we don't have the players in the middle to do that? As good as Bergvall is, I've seen Bergvall again make a few mistakes, and he's going to do that because he's 18 years old. Out the back. Of course. Do you know what I mean? In possession, when to play.
But automatic. Don't you think, because Basuma's not playing in the right position, right? The fact that we're playing at top speed and the high intensity, it doesn't help him at all, because that just makes him into making more mistakes.
Yeah, if you notice that Bournemouth and De Zerbi was really good at this, and I know he didn't play under De Zerbi, but they would build up with maybe 6 players, 7 players. So then you've got more passing lanes, you've got more options. So when I say passing lanes, if you stand in a straight line, it's easy to accept. You need to stand at angles, if that makes sense. The more you stand at an angle, the easier it is to make a passing line, but in between the lines. And I think with Spurs, we don't have that many players in the build. Like, we need more players in the build up, and we need more players that are gonna play on that angle, if that makes sense, and have that football IQ to know I can't stand in a straight line. That's how that ball got intercepted when Bergvall hit that pass into Porro and it hit Joe Linton's hand. Really,
I agree.
Standing in a horizontal line, he should be standing at an angle to make that passing lane accessible, if I'm making sense.
The thing is with Tottenham, I believe they've got all the midfielders that we got more or less the same. Certainly Biss and Bentancur, that they're all 8s. You know, we haven't got.
You can throw Sarr into that as well, Mark.
Sorry?
You can throw Sarr in that as well, because I think he's the same as them too as well.
Yeah. Sarr's impressed, because before the season started this season, I said Sarr runs about a lot, but he don't actually do a lot. You know, he runs right. He's got energy for everyone, but he doesn't actually do a lot. This season, he's proved me wrong. Whether that's Ange hasn't improved him, it's just where he's getting older. You know, he's maturing. You know, because he's only still, what, 22, 21? You know, he's still young. And so
do you know what?
he's...
Do you know what I said the other day, Mark? What I say the other day, I said this in the summer as well, and I think I've said this for a number of years. For me, I truly believe that the actual midfield at Tottenham needs an overhaul, a complete overhaul.
Yeah.
And people always get offended by that because they want to stick up for this player they like or that player. And it's not that I think any of our midfielders are terrible. I don't. I think they've all got a role to play. They all are okay. It's what I call sometimes players. We've got a lot of midfielders that are sometimes players. Bentancur, look, for whatever reason, Bentancur can be absolutely brilliant, but he's got there's a lot of injuries, there's a lot of suspensions. He can't ever seem to really get a run of 8, 10, 15 games in a team where you go, you're the main man. Basuma, again, we can talk about, is he an 8? Is he a 6? Is he this? Is he that? Whatever. But Basuma, sometimes, like the other night against Liverpool, I thought he was brilliant. The week before, you go, God, he's dreadful. And there's never an in-between. Sarr, for me, I don't think is a good footballer. I think he's a good athlete. I think he's got a great engine. I think he will give you 100% every game. But if you want to play a game of football where you dominate possession, where you are in control of a game, where you are prodding and probing, that's not your guy on the ball. So for me, what I think we need, and this may sound really boring, and I apologize, guys. I feel like we need 2 brand new midfielders minimum that are 7.5 out of 10 every game. Now, they might not be the most glamorous. And again, I always use this as an example. Look at John McGinn of Villa, right? You watch John McGinn. That's not a sexy name. Nothing against Scottish people. That's not a sexy name in terms of world football, right? He's not going to go to a club and sell millions and millions of shirts. But you know what? John McGinn gives Villa every game. Everything. He's good on the ball. Yeah. He can drive forward. He tracks back. He gets forward and scores goals. He's hardworking. He doesn't mind receiving it in difficult areas. He's a leader. And more often than not, you go, yeah, John McGinn's good. Right? Liverpool, even at the top level, you look, McAllister and Gravenberch are very good midfielders. They're not Rodri's.
No.
You know what I mean? They're not Cesc Fabregas type, but they're very good. They get the job done. And most of the time, Gravenberch and McAllister just go under the radar because they do their job brilliantly. They just get it done.
I'm going to steal Brian Daigle's one. Morgan Gibbs-White.
Morgan Gibbs-White, he's another midfielder. Yeah. He's another one where you know what you're getting. And I think we need to turn around and say, thanks, Bentancur, thanks, Basuma. Let's move and let's go and get some, first of all, I said this the other day. There were loads of piss taking. I want a man. I want a real man.
Yeah, but this is where my buddy over in the corner, Rinketi, takes over, because we even talk about a player together. Yeah. Rinketi, you go for it, my man. You tell the people this player, blood. Go on.
This blonde guy here, Morten Jumland.
Yeah, Jumland.
And he can play as a 6 and an 8, and even like a Baumi, he can be a 10 winger and a 8. And I feel like with our midfielders in general, they're like kind of locked in. Like if they're an 8, they're an 8. For example, Jumland, he's both a 6 and an 8. For Sporting, he's more of 6. For Denmark, he's more of 8. And I feel like I'm not saying like we can afford to get him, but if he and Josh, that's a, sorry for my wording, but that's a stupid argument. Jumland has had a massive Gunnar tattoo before. Like he's a proper player. Like,
so you say he's got an Arsenal tattoo?
Josh posted like he had like an Arsenal tattoo before, but he got rid of it.
I don't care about that.
No, exactly. He's a proper player.
About that. We had William Gallas who came in before, who was a really good player, played for Arsenal. I don't care.
Well, do you know why Eric Cantona used to wear his shirt up?
Leeds tattoo?
He had an LUFC on his neck.
Listen, we're grown adults. I don't care. I don't care that someone's got a tattoo of Arsenal on them. If you come to Tottenham and you give every game, everything you've got. But Rinketi, you're right. There are so many midfielders out there that do that. If you watch all the other leagues, and I know that my man Ash loves a little scouting report. But I feel like what we've desperately tried to do for the last year, 2 years, is we're trying to make these midfielders better than they are. These midfielders are sometimes players. For me, move them on. Get someone in solid. Look at let's look at teams around us. Right? If you look at teams around us, right? Look at Chelsea's midfield. Forget how much it cost, but Caicedo's a man, isn't he? Gives you everything. He's a warrior. He's a battler. Never going down. Like, he's not going down injured every 5 seconds, right? You then look at Nottingham Forest. Look at Anderson. Look at the job Anderson does at Nottingham Forest. Our fans would have lost their mind if we had signed Anderson, right? You look at, as I said, Aston Villa, Onana, McGinn, Kamara, Tielemans. They're solid midfielders. I'll pass that back to you guys. That's what I think we need, some real men.
Even Ryan Yates. I feel like Ryan Yates, the other guy at Nottingham Forest, I feel like he's quite solid, and you know what you get from him. And we all saw what Liverpool did with Henderson. He was never a flashy player, but he was always a professional, a proper leader. And I felt like for years we haven't really had that in the midfield.
Yeah, I feel like sorry, bro. Go on.
No, that's why you carry on, Ash.
Yeah, no, you know what it is? It's a debate I'm having in my head. Leaders versus technical players. And now, like, people will say, why can't you have both? But I like to say, look, if I'm having a proper debate, I want to, have that do we need more quality, or do we need someone that's going to be rounding the troops up, shouting at them, saying, come on,
you
guys.
need both, really, I think.
Ash, why can't we sign both?
Yeah.
You need both. And like, why can't you sign both? But if I had to choose, which one would I choose? It's more fun that way, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I get it. I want it completely revamped.
The politicians' answer, we all know you need both. But if I had to just lean on one side, I don't know which side would I go on that. What do Tottenham need more? Did Tottenham need more quality in the midfield? Like, for example, if we signed a quality midfielder, do you think we would get better as a team? Or do you think if we signed a leader, we would push up the table quicker and faster? And I'll throw that out to you guys, man. At what foot would you lean in more? Like, what's that?
Well, to be honest, this was my problem.
Why can't we get both?
This was my problem in the summer. Like, when we were signing Bergvall, Archie Gray, I don't mind. But at the same time, we should have been bringing in players who are ready now. Not for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, but Mark, doesn't that even make it worse here when you think Aston Villa went and got Milenkovic, and he's actually a leader? I think we need a leader. You've got so many young players in that squad. They need a leader, someone that they can rally around, someone who can tell them how to, where to go and what to do when times get tough. Because when times get rough in the game, there's no one there leading the team and telling them how to play, or how to calm the game down, or to manage the game. Yeah, exactly. And Ange in-game management is shocking anyway, but there's no leaders on the football pitch to say, stop, slow down, calm it down.
But this is what Ange wants. And then we've got fans saying it as well. These two things should be happening side by side.
Of course
this is where a big club doesn't have this, I'd rather wait for the kids to grow. What a big club would do is say, all right, we're going to go and get our 2 top midfielders, and these 2 kids are going to play with them and learn from them. What we're doing is remember when Ange said, guys, you all remember where he was asked about leadership in the team, and Ange's comments were, there's two ways to acquire leadership. Sorry, there's 2 ways to have that. You either acquire it by going and buying it, or you develop it in your team. And he said, I prefer the latter in terms of developing. The problem is, if you only ever want to develop, where does that leadership and seniority come from in the first place? So for me, you go and get a senior leader, and then you say, right, next season, for example, that leader's going to play. That's just one of them. I don't think both. Bergvall's going to play every game next season alongside him. You've got yin and yang.
Yeah.
Not the winger. You've got yin and yang in midfield.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but as much as we all love him, now I love Sonny,
Wait.
he is not a leader. He is not a leader. He smiles too much.
We go there though. Wait. We can get to it in a second. I need to push back on Savva just to make it a bit more. We're all agreeing right now. He did admit, Ange did admit that he got it wrong. He said that the senior players have been letting him down, and he got the whole young thing where he's improved. He said he needed to improve on the senior players. He actually came out and said that, and so that's what we're meant to be addressing in this particular window. Hence why we are where we are. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, bro, carry on about the Son point. Go on.
No. What I was going to say about Son, all right, we all love Son from what he's done for our club, the loyalty he's shown. Because there's not many players who would have been here, 10, 11 years and won absolutely nothing and still wanted to be here. Right? So fair play to him for that. But I'm sorry, he's not a captain. You want a captain like a Roy Keane. If he told you to do something, you did it. No questions asked. It's either that or he kicked you. You know what I mean? And that's his own player. Son is too nice to be a captain. Almost, it's probably the wrong analogy, but you want somebody that you're scared of to be a captain.
Do you think though?
I just go answer the front door.
Do you think if Kane was captain, because he's not a hard man, he's not a nice guy. Do you think Kane would have got more out of it? Because there's different type of leaders where you can lead a pitch. Because Son, for me, is down tools. Like he's had a poor season to his standards. Like who would have predicted that? Son's had bad seasons, but no one could have predicted that this season he'll be this poor. Do you know what I mean? And I think that hasn't been helping us this season. And I think when Ange talks about the senior players letting him down, Son will be in that. He'll be in that conversation. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think Son knows that he's let the club down at some level. And he expects higher from his. His dad was criticizing him. Like his dad came out in the documentary. He said, "Well, you're not world class." Remember people being world class? You're not world class. I said, "You know what? I kind of like that, So I know Son, like in himself, in his circle as well, he would be like, "This is one of my worst seasons as a Spurs player." And I don't know if any Spurs fans saw that one coming. But yeah, I just wanted to say, is there different type of leaders where Kane's the England leader, but Son, he hasn't taken that mantle up, you know what I mean? And that's why I come back to that issue. Is it quality or is it leadership that we need? And I know it is both, but just interesting just to keep that point up.
I'm sort of old school. I'm sort of old school, so I can remember the times when, well, that's because I'm an old kid, but like, I remember the times when
you're going to mention him, ain't you, Mark? I'm
not mentioning him whatsoever. But I remember when you used to watch a football game, and the captain of a team would shout and scream at people.
Yeah, that's Tony Adams.
Well, yeah, but almost the captain of your club, people were scared of him. Because they knew if they put a foot wrong or weren't in the right position or, did anything wrong on the pitch, the captain would be on them, all over him like a rash. You know what I mean? And no, it wasn't Gary because he was too much of a nice guy.
So that would have to be Bentancur in our team. And Bentancur, for me, is the most like violent, aggressive player that can kind of speak English compared to Romero. Romero can't really speak English from what I've seen. He speaks Spanish. So
yeah, I don't like Bentancur as captain. I'm sorry, because Bentancur is too much of a hothead for me. His accountability and reliability is another thing I would like. I'm sorry, for me, he's rash. He's a good player on his day, like Savva said. Sometime-ish, but for me, he gets suspended or he'll get the injuries, so he's not reliable enough for me to be captain. That's for me.
I'd say Kolo. I'd say Kolo. Put Kolo. Wait, he's captain of Sweden now.
Yeah.
No, he's not. He's the third guy.
I thought he was made captain of Sweden.
No, he's not. He's the third captain because of the others.
Wait, he was captain for a game though, wasn't
he? Yeah.
Can we be honest with Kolo? Sorry, go on, Raketic. Sorry, mate, you cut out for me there.
I was gonna say, to be honest, I feel like no one in the whole squad right now are willing to do something like this. This brawl up here on the picture, Yulman went towards Saka and said something and then pushed him. That's why there's a big brawl. And I feel like no one in our team, even Bentancur, Kolo, maybe Kuti, no one is willing to do something like that just to get into like the opponent's head, or are willing to like rile them up or something like that. And I feel like it's like what Mark said. We need a Roy Keane. We need a John Terry. We need something different.
Keep going. I'm just about to change my photo. This is a captain. Hang on. There you go.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, I saw that coming.
Can we? This is the thing. I see this a lot with Spurs fans and on YouTube, and we're always debating who should be captain from what's at the club. For me, I've always had the same answer. I just don't think any of them at this club are captains. I know we want to shoehorn people into it. And what happens is we tend to think that the captains are people like Kolo who come out and give nice interviews, right? Kolo gets it. Kolo said this in an interview. He should be a leader. For me, I think there's a very big difference between being the guy that's put in front of the media that says nice things and that comes across nice, and being the guy that goes out on that pitch and wants to win at all costs. The guy that goes on that pitch, and, you know, Ash is right. There are different styles of leadership. You've got your old school, I'm going to scare the shit out of everyone on my team. They're going to lead, you know, I'm going to lead by fear. Then you've got the, I'm going to lead by example. I'm going to lead by how good I am, which is probably more of a David Beckham type captaincy, right? Where England captain, he's not a shouter. He's not a horrible guy in terms of personality on the football pitch. He's a leader in terms of, that's David Beckham. David Beckham gives everything every game. He wants to win. He is England. He bleeds England, right? We need to buy that, because we simply don't have it. We say that we've got it with Romero, but Romero, for me, you can't be that rash and be a captain. You can't be getting that many bookings, red cards, suspensions, and saying that you're the captain. You can't be that erratic with your form. Sonny, for me, is not a captain in any way, shape, or form. When that guy's head goes down, yeah, the whole team can see that his head's gone down.
All right, Savva, let me ask. Oh, sorry, go on.
Yeah, go on. No, go on.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Yeah, would you prefer a Ryan Yates in midfield, or would you prefer a Douglas Luiz in midfield?
Douglas Luiz.
But Douglas Luiz now isn't necessarily a leader, for example. I'm just saying. But Ryan Yates, I know we won't both, but I'm just saying. Like, look, you've been given a budget. You're Lang, and you've presented to Levy 2 players. You've got Ryan Yates, who's the shouter, the leader, the one that's a bit more grit, old school, kind of like he doesn't give that soft belly look for Spurs. He gives that kind of grit that, you know, that Spurs have been missing. You know, he's okay as a footballer. He's nothing that is. But then you've got Douglas Luiz, who had an excellent season that Arsenal wanted. That's that next level, something better than what we have at the moment. So you're looking at quality in the extreme versus that kind of leader in extreme. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
So I would.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was trying to go with the whole conversation.
Yeah, I get it.
Do we prefer?
So I would go with
player or a leader. Do you know? And
I would go with Luiz.
Better too.
I'll tell you why I'd go with Luiz is because the problem is Ryan Yates Ryan Yates is one of those ones where if you had mentioned this guy in the summer, people would laugh, wouldn't they? They'd be like, what? Nottingham Forest, that kid who's always suspended and always fouling. Look, Ryan Yates for me, though, look, when I answer this type of question, Ash, I have to look at who the manager is and how gung-ho the football is. Because the problem is, if you stuck Ryan Yates in there, yeah, you might have some screamy, shouty, some never say die attitude, but Ryan Yates isn't a good enough footballer, and it would constantly mean that the ball is constantly still bouncing back at us. Douglas Luiz is a very good footballer, right? So the difference with Douglas Luiz is, first of all, he's a proper man in midfield. He's strong, he's powerful, he's good with his feet, he drives forward, he tackles. For me, that type of example is needed more than screamy, shouty at the moment, because otherwise you stick Yates in midfield, we still can't control a midfield. Douglas Luiz, for me, helps control that midfield a little bit. But this is where, when we talk about, I know why you're doing it for the hypothetical of either or. For me, this is where I think Spurs have got it so desperately long over the years, is that we we get ourselves to a position where we go, if you could only get one, well, most clubs go and buy all that they need. Do you know what I mean? You look at Man City right now. Man City aren't going, oh my God, we only need. Man City are going, all right, we want Kanoush in this window. Is it Kanoush? No, I'm mixing up Kusanov. So I'm mixing up Kusanov and Marmoush in one name. They're going to go, we want Marmoush and we want Kusanov. And they're looking at the other guy that I saw this morning that was being touted about that they're buying.
Just to push back on that real quick. They didn't do that in the summer. They sold their striker, who was not backup, but he was playing. Alvarez. When they sold Alvarez, they didn't replace him. And they needed another cover for Rodri. They didn't do that, and it was positions. They knew their centre backs were aging, and they never addressed that either. So they had a really relatively light window in the summer. Now in January,
one window. But Ash, this is what Spurs do every window. That was Man City having one bad window, and what have they done? They've had that bad window, and then the very next window, they're active. They're addressing it.
I would say the reason why they're moving mad like that is because they've got for the first time they're in a top four race rather than a league race. Do you know what I mean? And that's a bit like Spurs. Yeah, we're reactive. Right. We're being ultra reactive because we're 12th. Like, we haven't been 12th for how many seasons? Normally we're bad 8th, 7th, but 12th. I think our chairman is being reactive, and I knew after that Newcastle loss, we were going to try and do something mad and try and like address one or two areas and make statement silence, because that's the type of chairman we have. Do you know what I mean? And I think the protests have helped to that as well. People be like, oh, you know, why are people protesting? What's the point? I think things like that, even if it's a small protest, it still helps the chairman to react and think, you know what, I might be in trouble here, because if I lose against Liverpool in a cup and we're out and we lose heavy, we're really in trouble. And then I've got Arsenal next. Don't worry about Tamworth. Then I'm like, I'm in serious trouble. And even Son came out and he was even saying, I need help. We need help. Like, please, he's talking to the board.
Yeah, but Ash, what's the difference between what you're saying, right? Here's the difference. Man City are looking to buy Kusanov. They're looking to buy Marmoush. They're looking to buy, is it Mate? Who's the other player that I saw there trying to get today? Anyway, right. They're looking to buy them, right? They're looking to go, we've got these gaps. We need good players. Boom. Spurs are going, well, let's try and loan Douglas Luiz. Let's try and loan Skriniar. Let's try and loan Kolo Muani. And let's be fair, we're going to loan players that aren't doing well where they are at the moment with names. Like, if you look at it, look, I think 2 years ago, you go for Kolo Muani, he's a name that's in form and everyone wants him. Now we're looking to get Kolo Muani on loan because he's not getting a kick of a ball at PSG and hasn't played well for 2 years.
Isn't that because Spurs aren't Man City? Man City won 4P. And we're respectfully, as a club, Spurs have been seen as the bridesmaid. Do you know what I mean? For many seasons. And we finished, all right, cool. We finished 5th. That would be a time to kind of start approaching players like, we're 5th, we're moving, we're trying to get into Champions League again, blah, 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 selling the project. But then our chairman has cut corners with the wages, and then now it's like looking like at least not a desirable type of place to go, if that makes sense. After Conte blew up the thing as well, Conte blew it up, and then managers were thinking twice about coming to Spurs.
Sure,
so
but Ash, we're not City. We're not City, but the way our fans talk is like we're Burnley. Like, listen, we're not Man City.
There's two extremes.
I'm not saying, listen, Ash, I'm not saying we shouldn't be challenging. I'm not saying we should be challenging Man City for Marmoush. I'm not saying that. But the difference is we're going to try and plug a gap like we did last year. Now, I was having these conversations, Ash, with everybody on YouTube last year when I said Dragoshin and Timo Werner is a bad window. And everyone went, oh, my God. But Timo Werner's a brilliant stopgap. Timo Werner can play Ange ball. Dragoshin's going to come in and help Van der Ven and Romero. Well, you bring in Timo Werner and he's dreadful like we knew he would be. And Dragoshin comes in and the manager never plays him. For me, whatever we bring in this window, if it is a Douglas Luiz, if it is Kolo Muani, if it is Skriniar, now I've got my doubts about whether we'll get any of them.
We should have got Skriniar 5 years ago.
I want to see all 3 of them Go straight into the 11, Ash.
Yeah.
None of this sitting on the bench and, but do they get in above Van der Ven and Romero? Well, yes, Skriniar's better than both of them. So if you get Skriniar, I want him straight in that back four. If you get Muani, I don't want all this, but we still love Hong-Min's son. No, he's been crap. Get Muani in there. Does that make sense, Ash? And that's the difference.
Yeah.
But there's another point as well that you forgot. Man City also bought an Argentinian midfielder. I can't remember his name yet, Claudio something. But they bought him a few years ago, and he's now going to come into that squad as well. So I think he is the replacement for Rodri. I think he is the backup to Rodri, and I think he's going to be waiting in the wings and take like Alvarez was, and to be sitting on the bench and learning from Rodri and learning from the midfielders around him, and then he'll be the natural successor, like they did with Fernandinho and Rodri. He'll be the next successor. That's what I believe anyway. So they're already succession planning at Man City anyway. So they're doing their rebuild, but people just didn't see it coming. But they're doing a rebuild. Don't get it wrong.
The thing is with our signings, though, is that this £1 billion shiny stadium that we built was meant to elevate us to compete with the likes of Man City, Chelsea, your Arsenals, all the teams that was winning everything, right? But really, since it's opened, I believe we've regressed.
Yeah, I think what it is.
And you've got to blame the chairman for that. I mean, I can only name the last player that we signed that I went wow was Klinsmann.
I agree.
After he get up in '94 in the World Cup. And maybe Van der Vaart as well, but Van der Vaart was on his...
He weren't bad. He weren't bad, Mark, was he?
No, he was all right, but to be honest...
Yeah, but it was mitigating circumstances.
He reached the top and he was on his way the other side, wasn't he?
Do you know what's funny about
we
Van der
normally
Vaart?
get them at the beginning or the end, don't we, Mark?
Yeah,
definitely. We got Edgar Davids at the end. We got Modric and Berbatov at the beginning. We don't Bale at the beginning. We don't ever go, look at this player who's 26, 25. He's in his prime.
Yeah.
Wow. What a...
I had this conversation with Percher on his channel the other day, right? Now, you look at all the world-class players we've had. Gareth Bale, we got him as a teenager and we developed him. He became world-class while he was with us. Modric, he wasn't really known. We developed him and he went on to do what he's doing. Berbatov, another great player. He was sort of unknown when he come to us. It's like Sav said, we either get them at the beginning and they become world-class with us, or we get them when they're just about to go over the top of the hill and we get the tail end of them.
Mark, it's like me chasing Margot Robbie my whole life, and then finally when she hits retirement age at the age of 70, she says, come on then.
That's ideal for me.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's ideal for me, 70.
Well, at your age, I'm guessing that's a great thing, Mark. But
yes.
Where's Van der Vaart? Before Van der Vaart came to Tottenham, was he a Real Madrid flop? I just want to get you guys' opinion on that.
Who?
Yes.
Was he?
Ash Matty with the fence.
Real Madrid wanted rid of him.
Yeah.
Real Madrid wanted rid of him, and Levy saw that as an opportunity to get him in. That's why I say mitigate the circumstances for Van der Vaart. Jurgen Klinsmann is the last genuine world-class player we got that went to Tottenham properly at that time. But I remember the story of Van der Vaart very well in my head. And that's the start of Levy time, by the way, is Van der Vaart.
Klinsmann is the last player that I can remember thinking, wow, because he'd lit up the '94 World Cup in America, and we signed him, and I was like, because didn't he get the golden boot in that World Cup? Or I think Germany won it or something?
No, they got quarterfinals.
Well, yeah, but even so, Klinsmann, and when we signed him, I thought, wow.
But that was under Sugar. That was under
Sugar. That was Sugar.
That wasn't Levy. So did you
No. Levy never come into what? 2001.
We don't want to talk about the whole Levy situation. I know.
We all know he's to blame anyway.
We're trying
but we've never seen Levy go out and buy a world-class player. And this is the bit that annoyed me with the stadium. When he went in the stadium, he said, it's going to help us compete by buying world-class talent. Now, we have not bought a world-class player since Daniel Levy's been in charge. And that's my grievance. Because that means to me that you lied to me on a basic level. And that's the bit that I don't like.
All our signings are based on hope that they'll come good.
Right.
Pray that they'll come good.
Sorry.
Isn't there a middle ground? Like for me, I get it, right? I'm not stupid enough to think that we can compete with Man City and Chelsea go to try and buy world class footballer, right? I get it, right? That we can't then go, actually come to us. We've not won anything. We can't compete with their wages, but join us. I get it. For me, my issue is that we don't even buy the level below that. My issue is that we don't even, like, you see, like when Wolves managed to go and get Mateus Cunha, and now the whole country wants Mateus Cunha. We don't get that. Yeah.
West Ham and Kudus, bro.
West Ham, right? We don't get the Kudus. We don't get Kudus from Ajax. We get Brennan Johnson from Nottingham Forest. You know, we don't even do the level. I'm not saying they're the level below world class, but we don't get from that bracket either. Now, Van der Vaart, just to answer Ash's question, just had a look. Van der Vaart in 2 years before, he had 2 years at Real Madrid, played 73 games. My understanding at the time was that they just had too many players, and that he was struggling to hold down a first 11 place. But it was, like Philly said, right? It was a real opportunistic, hey, do you want Van der Vaart for 8 million? And Daniel Levy went, bloody hell, do I? Yeah, absolutely. I want him for 8 million. And then Harry, proper manager, got the best out of him, put him in his proper position, no inverted nonsense, none of, right?
Still lives down the road from me, by the way.
You what?
Still lives near me, old Harry.
All right.
I say near me, miles away, really. But
send us our love, yeah. Send us our love. Thank you.
But this is the difficulty for me. It's not. I've never said, because lots of people come back after I finish my show and go, "Oh, Savva thinks we can just buy people like Haaland." I mean, it's like, no, Savva doesn't think that. Savva wants the scouting to be proper, where we go out and go, why are we not picking up Acuna when he's available from an Atletico Madrid? Right? Why are we not picking up Isak from Real Sociedad? Right? Yeah. Who's now one of the most wanted strikers in world football? Why are we not getting a Bruno Guimaraes? You know, how have we not got Tonali? You know, I'm just using by example.
But Savva, how are we doing that before we move to the stadium? Before we move to the stadium, we'll buy Atletico Madrid's first player, because we bought Alderweireld from Atletico Madrid. How are we going to Ajax here and buying Ericsson from Ajax when we were in the old stadium, but we can't do it in the new one? It's a game changer. What's going on here?
You did say, Savva.
That's my point. We're not doing that now. What we're doing is, and this is where Daniel Levy, I call him a genius, and people get annoyed at me, but I call him a genius not from a place of that I like what he does, but he is a genius. He's managed to fool us all. You look how many people now, after the other night, are raving about Bergvall and Gray, right? And I'm not knocking them. Look how many people are raving about Bergvall and Gray, and now you're starting to see all the comments going, you know what? Actually, this could turn out to be one of our best windows. Hang on. Those very same people are saying the reason we're 12th in the league is because we didn't have a good window. Now, what a top team does, to go back to Mark's original point, is you go and buy Gray and Bergvall, but you turn around and go, right, that's the future. Right, where are my two midfielders for now? Where are my two central midfielders for now? Like Newcastle bought Tonali for now. They bought Bruno Guimaraes for the now. Right? We buy them at 18, 17, and then we all go, but if they continue this development, by the time they're 23, we're going to have the best players in the world. If they continue their development, they will be snapped up long before we actually ever realize any potential. The same way Carrick went, Bale went, Modric went, Sheringham went, Berbatov. I could go on and on and on. So for me, we need better scouting. Let's stop all this, but are they Ange ball type players? We need better scouting for good quality footballers. Go and get the Marmouche before he's wanted by Man City. Why can't we find that player anymore? It's just all a little bit meh. That's
going back to something you said though, Sav. Like you said, we're not going to sign him because we won't pay the wages. You got to ask the question: why won't we pay the wages? With the infrastructure we got there now, there's no reason why we can't keep up with the wage bill that Man City have got, and we make the highest income of the Premier League with all the money that's coming into Tottenham, with all the events and whatever else goes on at the ground. I'm all in favour of that, by the way. Apart from the 25, 30 times a year when it's going to be used for football, say 40 at the most, I don't care if that stadium's used the other 320 odd days of the year. As long as the money comes into the club and it goes back into the football team. We're a football team at the end of the day, not an NFL franchise, a boxing venue, a Dell concert venue, but there's no reason that we cannot keep up with the likes of whoever the top people are
Mark,
paid wages.
I think also. Go on, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, for example, if we're even like linked with Gomez from Wolves, there will be some fans who be like, who will he bench? Or if we're gonna stop the pathway for Barval and Gray, for example, he would do this, he would do this, he would do this, and you'd be like, Gomez is still better than anyone we have right now. So it's kind of like, why are you like hesitating?
I was gonna say, it's funny.
You're muted.
I'm on mute. Sorry. Just quickly, Ash, before you go, I just want to say, based on that point, Rinketic, you're spot on. Every single time we're linked to a player, our fans suddenly think that we're Champions League winners and that no one can suddenly get who gets in. Who could possibly get in above Van der Ven and Romero, even though we lose loads of games with them in the team? Who could possibly get in above Bentancur, Basuma, or Sarr? Like, the mindset is so down here that we ask those questions. What the bigger clubs do is they'll go, we're going to go and buy, like when Man City bought Jack Grealish, for example, no Man City fans going, but why would we buy Jack Grealish? We've got Mahrez, Foden, Silva. They're going, yep, another quality player. Bring him in, pad out the squad with quality. We don't think like that.
Can I just add, we could have had him if we'd coughed up 4 million more.
Sure. And now we've got fans
saying
they wouldn't want Jack Grealish, which is absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah.
But Ash, is that a problem what Rinketic said about the 11? No one getting in?
No, I was gonna say something before that. I was gonna say, and I agree though. But this whole pathway thing does frustrate me as a fan. I'm like, there's quality out there that you can get, and we're saying, if you block this pathway, you block that pathway, and that's just blocking our blessings. But I was gonna say, when Conte was in charge, he actually did want John McGinn. Do you know that? He was requesting for John McGinn, a hard-working midfielder. He also wanted Kvaratskhelia. He also wanted Anthony Gordon. Anthony Gordon is another player he wanted. Do you know what I'm saying? So I remember, like, it was just fine margins where if we just pay what that club wants and you do it quickly, because I'm saying raw, the way we drag our heels at transfers is crazy. We miss out on so many targets because we spend too long trying to negotiate the perfect deal, penny pinching, and then all of a sudden we lose out on lots of top players. But no, I have to agree with you guys. It's this whole narrative, like, of pathways, this pathway, that pathway. Yes, 3 to 4 years time, guys. We need for the now. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, things will happen like what's happened this season. We'll stay 12th. You know, and we'll end up falling down the league. Then what players will want to come to us? Because I'm still surprised like players want to come to us. Because I know players talk like fans. What, Tottenham? You know what I mean?
But who does, Ash? Who does? Like, at the moment, when we're saying players want to come to us, lots of people now in the chat, always dangerous to listen to football fans, but are saying apparently Muani has said yes to Juve. I don't know. Can anybody confirm their source?
No, so basically, Tuto has come out. The source has come out. Obviously, Ali Gold came out yesterday, whether you believe him as a source or not. But obviously, he gets drip-fed a lot to the club, Ali Gold. So I think that's why people put him as a high regard journalist. But basically, what it is, it's between us and Juve at the moment. I think the reason why that Levy apparently is in Paris right now trying to negotiate the deal, personal terms are meant to be agreed. So personal terms have been agreed. But basically, Juventus have to offer what we're offering. And what we're offering is an option and we're offering higher money. So 60 million. No other clubs offering 60 million apparently with the option. But
is he the one that's on 300 grand a week?
No, it won't be that. It'll be like closer to 160 grand a week. It won't be 300. But basically, Juventus, they want to offer slightly less. They don't want to offer 60 million with an option. Paris want obligation. Paris want an obligation because they want that money guaranteed at the end of the season. So they'll do a whole loan, but they want an obligation at the end of it. Spurs don't want an obligation because they don't want to make the same mistake they made with, Lo Celso, and they've been etc. They want to make that same mistake. They want it with conditions. So the option is that we buy the player with option, and we have a higher price range than everyone. Basically,
apparently, by the way, people, just quickly on Kolo Muani, apparently he's on £9.1 million a year, which is, I think, equates to, in my head, about 175, 180 grand a week, which is not bad money if you can get it and not having to do a lot every weekend. It's it's not bad. I'll be honest, guys, if I was on 100,
would you take the pay cut, Sav? Would you take the pay cut? Would you take the pay cut? To be honest, money, Mark,
I'd take the pay cut. If I was on 180 grand a week, I'd open up my YouTube channel and I'd just let people call me whatever they want all day.
Yeah.
You can call me what you want. You can send me death threats. I don't care. I'll take it.
The reason why Muani might want to come is because of the World Cup. That basically he needs more minutes. He needs to get into the squad. And Deschamps said to him, "Listen, if you want to get back into my team, because he was playing, he was getting into the French squad, but he's like, if you want to play, then you need minutes. Basically, you're going to need to be playing. I can't play if you're not playing." But
we're guaranteeing minutes, are we?
Well, yeah. Well, this is it. That's the reason why he's wanting to come, because we're meant to be guaranteeing the minutes. We're meant to say, look, you will play. Well, Ange is meant to be on the phone to him, got onto the phone to him, and basically said, look, under me, you'll get your minutes, and I'll get you back into the French squad. Do you know what I mean? And that's the reason why he's looking at the Premiership, maybe over like the Juventus at Serie A. So that's the rumors, isn't it?
Let me ask, just quickly, welcome, Mark. Welcome, Mr. Box Office. I love it. My morning show has turned into a football version of Loose Women. Just anybody and everybody coming on and having their say. Good morning to you all. I like these impromptu sessions, and my wife is actually sitting in the room with me, working, doing a proper job, and probably thinking, how do these idiots talk about football all day? Is that what you're thinking? That's what she always thinks. There you go. Mark, Alex, welcome. Let me start with you guys then. Look, Kolo Muani, for me, I've always said this about him. I feel like his name and reputation is probably better than what we've actually ever seen him really produce. Now, that's not me saying he's a bad footballer, but it's one of those for me, guys, where he could come in and either kind of reignite his career and find the form that he had a few years back in Germany, or he comes in and we go, this is why he wasn't getting any minutes in a PSG shirt. Do we want him, panel? Do we want Kolo Muani? And if he comes in, he's got to play, right? So where does Kolo Muani play? And in place of who? Who could he possibly play in front of?
Alex, you going?
Ash, have you got to go, Ash?
Yeah, I've got to go off. I've actually got work. But yeah, you got work. I need to go.
Take care, Ash. See you later, mate.
All right, see you later.
Please subscribe to Ash over at Spurs Kings TV. Him and my main man Marlon, they're big stars now. They go on Last Word on Spurs and stuff. They get invited everywhere. Big up to those two. Mark, let me start with you, and I'll go to Mr. Box Office. I mean, first of all, good morning. How are you, sir? And Kolo Muani, how are we doing?
Yeah, I'm not sure which side he plays. I'm gathering he plays on the left because he's right-footed. I'm not sure. What I've seen, he's not going to blow it away, is he, Savva? I just think the option to buy, the obligation to buy, I think, steer clear. If it is 16 million, we've been burnt before with Richarlison, Brendan Johnson. He's just very uninspiring, isn't he? Really, I think. You know, as you said, I think it's like a case of when Neymar went to PSG, his name was big, and every like Neymar, this, that, and the other. I'm just not sure on that signing. I think there's better signings out there which would be better for Tottenham, mate.
Well, I mean, look, I don't disagree with you. I mean, Alex, we asked for signings. Always love it when the box office graces us with his presence, by the way. Alex, we asked for signings. The club are looking like they're making some loan signings. Kolo Muani, is this the guy to get us out of 12th place and revolutionise our forward line?
Not with this manager. But anyway, moving on. Because I can't. I really wouldn't want to. I really wouldn't want to put any more players towards him because because the forwards that we're getting, his IQ for forwards is absolutely terrible. Just need to say Timo Werner twice, and then he appears, like you say, Mr. Box Office twice, and then he appears, then he disappears, and that's it. You know what I mean? But that's it really. I just wanted to come on. I just wanted to come on, Savva, to grace my presence because the main event needs to say something right now. Because unfortunately, I'm a bad person, Savva. I'm a bad person on YouTube, I've been told, because I don't rate Bergvall. I don't rate Bergvall because Bergvall's he has one or two good games, and I'm supposed to rate the guy when really he should have been sent off. And he's no different, no closer to bloody Dele Alli. That look what happened to him after 3 seasons, wasn't it? You know what I mean? I'm not a very good guy because I don't rate Kiski, even though I said he's all right, and that's it. You know what I mean? I'm not a really good guy because I don't like Ange Postecoglou. But the thing when he actually wins the cup, and then we've got to call him the Lord of Saviors. You know what I mean? Even though Ramos won the cup, and our hated manager George Graham won the Carabao Cup, but they're not the Lord and Savior. You know what I mean? You know, but we are such a bad person, Savva. We're such bad people because we've got so much big expectations. You know what I mean? You know, I'm sorry, I am so fed up of Ange Postecoglou right now. One win, and we're looked as, we've got to change our mind. Oh, you've got to be humble. You know? Oh, we get all the names under the sun. Yes, Savva. Yeah, I'm getting it as well now. You know what I mean? I'm getting it as well. You know, because you can't have a football conversation with these people. You know what I mean?
Alex, you know you've made it when you receive a lot of abuse every day. If I look at my phone and I go, no one said anything horrible for an hour, I've not done enough content. Do you know what I mean? Like you've got to get the content out there. You've got to get hated. And I read one out yesterday to the wife. I can't even remember what it said, but it was, what was it? Do you remember what it was? It was something really, really, it made no sense as a cuss at all. No, that was this morning about you wearing your cardigan. By the way, this is not her cardigan, by the way. This is just a hoodie for indoors. But Alex, listen, at the end of the day, mate, I think what people want to hear is when you talk about Bergvall, right? I think it's the same way when I talk about Bergvall. I look at Bergvall and go, cool, all right, there's something there, no doubt. Young player. But what we want to do is we see he scores one goal against Arsenal, against Liverpool, and suddenly every comment the next day is he's like Steven Gerrard. He's like Cesc Fabregas. It's like, what? Can we stop putting these young players into the brackets of greats until they've until they at least nail down a first team place in the team? Like we've got these players that are playing because of injuries, and we're all going, oh, look how well he's developing these players. What, you mean the players he's only playing because he's got injuries? And that's where I think the difference is, Alex. Those people just want to go, we're great Spurs fans, we're amazing, everything's great. You look at it from the point of view of prove to me. Prove to me over time.
And it's just, and then you get people in the comment, I'm not going to name them, but they say you need to calm down because you're preventing, you're venting, you're unleashing, I call it, my famous saying. You get what I'm saying? So I just sit there and say to them, okay, prove to me, why is it so good right now under this manager that has lost more than he's won? We are more a cup team, like Pochettino, when the cups were actually deflecting over his form. Yeah, even though I love Pochettino, right?
Hang on,
right? And we're also gallivanting about this manager, saying, "Oh, I'm so glad now we've won because now people can believe in the Ange-Postecoglou effect today." Like, and I'm like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? And again, what have I not said that's wrong? And you're telling me I need to calm down because my voice is very loud. Oh, that's a really good analogy. You know what I mean? It's just these little things. You know what I mean? And most of the things I have said have been correct.
Yeah.
And I didn't even need stats to tell me that.
To be fair.
I've been correct. Yeah. Most of the time, the things that I've said that I'm wrong about, I've been embarrassed about because I didn't want Højbjerg. Look what's happened. I want Højbjerg. Who's he similar to? Oh, the guy that you said from Aston Villa. Yeah? McGuinn. You know what I mean? Because that's what we need. We need proper midfielders. Because I'm sorry, you're telling me Burbal's very quality. If he's quality, look at Foden, for instance. Look at the quality he is at the moment. You know what I mean? He's not having a good season at the moment, but look at the things that he's done in his Man City career. He was the best player last season. Even I admitted it because he's shown us he's the man. This guy's not the man. He's not the
Alex,
man.
Let me forget Bergvall for a minute. I want to go back to Muani. I'll bring you in, Philly. Look, Alex, I hear your frustrations, and I think that this is one of the symptoms of being a YouTuber: is you put your face to a camera every day, you give your opinion, and then people will hold you to that, even if they want to change their opinion every 30 seconds. And that's life. We have to deal with that, Alex, right?
Yeah.
But with Kolo Muani, Philly, for me, I'm not even saying I don't want him. For me, this guy falls into the bracket of I don't know what I'm going to get. Right? Do you know what I mean? I feel like he could come in and be brilliant, or he could come in and we go, well, this is another terrible signing like Werner. But what I do know, Philly, is if he comes in and scores on his first game for Spurs, we will elevate him to Ballon d'Or winner within 90 minutes of him playing for Tottenham.
I agree. That one I agree with. And when I look at Kolo Muani, Savva, you heard me during the Euros, mate. I can't stand Rabiot. He is one of the worst French players I've ever seen. And Kolo Muani took it to the next level. When I watch him, he is wasteful. He is the French version of Timo Werner. He is not good for me. He is very wasteful in front of goal, and he misses quite a lot of chances. But this need to elevate players onto a pedestal before they've got their time, it's not fair on the player itself. When you look at Bergvall and they're saying he's generational, when you look at Archie Gray and they say they're generational, you put them on a pedestal they're not ready for. So the only way to them to go is to go down. And this will be the same with Kolo Muani. It's like it's a point scoring exercise, which I don't want to say his name. The Pigeon, I'm going to call him, scores 2 goals last year. Everybody, look at the Pigeon. Look how many goals he scores. But look at his overall game. He's still not good. You look at Brendan Johnson. He scores 1 goal. Yay, Brendan Johnson. But look at his overall game. What did he add in the 90 minutes? What other stuff does he add to the game in the whole 90 minutes? Not much. He's not a good player. But it becomes a point-scoring exercise, and that's what annoys me with Spurs and their fans. And a lot of the fans, it's, look at this player. Look how he's world-class. Look how he's generational. But when you break them down and you look at them properly, they're not that good of a player.
Well, let's have a look. This is the snapshot. This is the overview of. Sorry, I've just said 2 very different things that counter each other, haven't I? You can't have a snapshot and an overview at the same time. This is an overview of Kolo Muani in the last the last sort of 6-7 seasons as a footballer. Now, if we look there, I think that obviously the season that kind of stands out where he's getting a lot of his plaudits from would be the 22-23 season. So 2 years ago, where he had a very good year in the Bundesliga, 15. So he nearly had a goal every 2. And then he did overall, if you add the cups to that, he got 23 goals in 46 games. Now, that was the year where everyone was going, oh my gosh, everyone in the world should buy Kolo Muani. He's lethal. He's dangerous. He then moved at the beginning of the next year. As you can see, he played 2 games in the league for Frankfurt the following season before signing, I think it was like near deadline day for PSG.
9 million.
Last year, 40 games in all competitions, 9 goals. But you've got to remember he's playing for Paris Saint-Germain, who are the best team in the country by a mile. And then this year, 14 games in all competitions and 2 goals. So 11 goals, 54 games for PSG. Now, and 80 goals in 267 in his career. Now, I guess the question is...
They are the Celtic of France.
Is Kolo Muani, is it that he is still the Muani who had that brilliant year in 22-23 and it's not worked for him because he's in France, he's not settled, the team, the dynamics? Or is it Kolo Muani maybe isn't as good as people think? And that's the question for me, guys. I don't know is the honest answer on this guy.
Yeah, but I mean, does it not remind you of Luka Jovic when he went from Eintracht Frankfurt to Real Madrid? He had a stellar season in Bundesliga. Yeah, went to Real Madrid and he bombed over Real Madrid. He went to Italy at Fiorentina. Yeah, he scored a few goals there and went to AC Milan. But I've not heard of him since. But that's who he reminds me of.
That's a good comparison. We see it a lot. We see it a lot, don't we, guys? Let me come to you. One of the marks. Anyone can go. We see this a lot in football where, again, players have a good 6 months or a good year. And instead of saying, right, okay, let's see a repeat of that the year after, they're automatically labeled 80, 90 million pound players. They've got to go to the best clubs. So let me give you an example. You remember Ferguson when he burst onto the scene at Brighton? Right? Yeah, okay. There were people making videos saying this guy is 100 million pounds. This guy is going to be the best striker. Since then, he's done nothing for Brighton in 2 years. He's done absolutely nothing. So, Mark, one of the marks, both the marks. By the way, these aren't the 2 marks that have got a channel together. No. But there's too many marks. Too many parents with uninventive imaginations, like my parents.
Biblical name.
So boring. Kolo Muani, guys, what is he? Is he a striker? Is he a wide guy? Is he the man?
I'm not sure what he is. No, you carry on, Matt.
No, I don't understand, because as I believe, isn't Richie available this weekend or very close to coming back?
Yes.
He's in
the squad, apparently.
Yeah.
So
that's until he gets up tomorrow morning and injures himself getting out of bed.
Exactly. I mean, the older members of you lot will remember a guy called Lentini who used to play in Italy, who went for a very lot of money and did absolutely nothing. So we've seen it on a number of occasions. Are we not better off saving the wages money and getting Embueo next summer, or at least trying to, rather than waste money on this guy at the moment with his wages and everything else?
There was another one. Who was the one that went there? It was the bloke, the Russian that owned Abramovich's. It was his friend from Russia, and he went to Chelsea, and he went. I can't remember his name, but he went and he did absolutely nothing. He went there for mega bucks at the time. Who was it? It was his personal friend, wasn't it? Abramovich, when he was at Chelsea, it was his personal mate.
What a player!
Yeah, yeah.
No. He was another sort of Russian, Ukrainian.
Not Shevchenko.
Oh, Shevchenko.
Yeah.
That's it. He went to Chelsea, did absolutely nothing, and I think Chelsea bought him for something like 50 million. It was a lot of money back then.
Yeah, but the difference with Shevchenko, though, right, was he was one of the greatest strikers in the world for a decade. And Shevchenko is not a runner of the channels and plays in a one-man up front. Shevchenko spent his whole career playing in the penalty area with 2 forwards, and you put the ball in front of him, he didn't miss. Chelsea bought him, played him up front on his own, asked him to run the channels, a bit like what we did on a lesser scale with Soldado. We bought in Soldado, who played in a 2-man for Valencia. Which one was he at? Valencia or
Valencia, you're right.
Valencia.
He played in a 2-man forward line for Valencia. They got balls in the box. The other guy knocked it down. Soldado scored. We bring him into Spurs. We're asking him to run the channels. We're asking him to play up front on his own. And then we're wondering why he's not scoring goals like he did at Valencia. But I agree with you.
Another comparison then, Brennan Johnson. He was an inside forward. but not on Forest. He didn't play on the wings.
No.
You know what I mean? And so we've chucked him out on the wing, and we wonder why he's not doing a lot.
Who would you rather have, Brendan Johnson or Matoma for the same money?
Matoma. Evidently.
Yeah, we don't do things like that, Mark. You know, we don't do. Look, the reason I would take Muani is whatever we think about him and whatever we think the risk is. For me, I think our wingers are so bad, he can't be worse. I fail to believe in my mind that he can be worse than what we're seeing from Son and Johnson as wingers. What we know is this guy will run at people. We do know that from the style of play. He will pick it up and run at people instead of just cutting in every 5 yards. So,
but brother, that's bad standards. I'm sorry, it's bad standards, man. Just because he's better than what we have, it's bad standards. This is what annoyed me in the summer. That's bad standards, dude.
Mate, Philly, I agree with you. But if we're saying this is, look, at the moment, Fabrizio Romano has just announced that Tottenham and Juventus are both pushing for Randal, Kolo, Muani. It's an open race. So that's the guy we're talking to, Philly. I'm not doubting. If you said to me, do I want Kolo Muani or do I want to go and get Mbuemo or Vissa from Brentford? Yeah, I want one of those guys. But this is the guy we're talking to. So if you're offering me Werner, Johnson's son or Muani, I'm taking Muani, if I'm honest. That's just my
opinion. You, bro. I hear you. I agree with you. Right. It's the best of a bad bunch. But I'm looking at it from every other dynamic and I'm thinking, this is bad standards. And this is why Tottenham are the way we are now, is that people accept these low-grade signings like Werner because they're better than what we have. Oh, Werner's better than Brian Hill. That's nasty, dude.
I agree, but I'm looking at it from a loan point of view. Listen, if they buy him, if we're talking 50, 60 million, questions need to be asked. Because if it is 50, 60 million obligation to buy, he's got to come in and hit the ground running. If it's a loan deal, I mean, look, I feel like we're in the same position last year, but he is better than Werner. He's better than Werner and he's better than Brennan Johnson. At the moment, that's what I've got. He could come in and be brilliant. So I'm not against the deal. Is anyone dead set against it?
Can he also play up front by himself as well? Or is he just a winger?
No, he can play across the front three.
So he can play across the front three.
I think so.
Is he better than Werner?
He's better than Werner. Of course, he's better than
bring him in.
And he's better than Brennan Johnson, right? And let's be brutally honest. It's really difficult to not be better than Son at the moment.
Gone.
Right. Guys, I want one last conversation before we wrap up because I've been going for 3 hours now and I'm absolutely starving. One last conversation. Look, we've got I don't want to talk about Tamworth. Tamworth to me kind of feels like it should be a given. I know that we will batter Tamworth and fans will start going, oh, Ange ball, like we've not beaten a team 16th in the Conference League, not even professional or whatever. I want to look at the Arsenal game next week. We've got Arsenal next Wednesday night at the Emirates. Guys, how are we feeling about this? Because Arsenal fans are now starting to very much get on the back of Mikel Arteta. They've got no Saka at the moment. He's out injured unless he remarkably gets fit by Wednesday night. They're getting on his case, even though they're second in the Premier League on 40 points. They lost to Newcastle. Guys, is this a good time to be playing our arch enemies?
Of course it is.
Okay, Mark, you think it is? Go, mate. Lead on from that. A good time to be playing them, right?
Well, never is a good time to go to the Emirates because historically, what do we ever get there? I can only remember us winning there once, and that was the 3-2 when we were 2-0 down.
Big Yunus Kabul.
Yunus Kabul, that's him. Yeah. And
Big Yunus.
So historically, we get nothing there, but surely a weakened Arsenal is better than playing them at full strength. Surely, because Saka's missing, and they seem to have fallen to pieces. Seeming.
Hang on,
Even
Mark. When we're saying they're seeming to, I want to bring this back into context, though. When you look at the league table there, Arsenal have won 3 of their last 4 games and haven't
Maybe
lost
not,
in their last 8 league games or something.
Yeah.
So when we're saying they've fallen off a cliff, what do we mean in terms of? Because look at that. If you offered me 10 points from 12 games, biting your hand off for it, is it that they're drawing too many rather than falling off a cliff? And obviously the Newcastle defeat at home kind of rubs salt in the wound.
That's possibly it then. I didn't realise their form was that. Yeah, but let's just say they're weakened then, without Saka. And so I think we may get a draw. If they were at full strength with Saka and the rest of them, then I'd give us absolutely no hope. But without Saka, and they're full, well, it's like you said, they've got a few draws in there, but and so it's as good a time to play them as any, is all I'm saying. Will we get anything? Probably not, because we hardly ever do.
Sure. But I mean, you look at this.
Emirates.
This is an Arsenal team that are second in the Premier League. Welcome, Josh. Yeah. I am ending Josh in 10 minutes, by the way, but you're welcome to be here for 10 minutes. This is an Arsenal team that are second in the Premier League. They're third in the Champions League. Now, their fans aren't happy. I get it. They think they should be top and they shouldn't have lost to Newcastle. But guys, everyone else on the panel, are we looking at them going, this is the right time, but for no real reason? Or are we thinking we can go and do what Newcastle just did to them?
No, we can't do
I feel like even without Saka, they still have and I can't say his name, but Enwal. Yeah, the young kid.
Injured, isn't he?
Yeah, and they also have Trossard, for example, who can still do some pretty good damage if Ange wants to play a certain way, and they still have like Declan Rice who can control stuff in the middle.
Amen. And Odegaard as well, because they were out in the first leg.
Right? And it's still Gabriel and Saliba, right? So I still feel like even with Saka out, like they can still do stuff against us.
Yeah, sure. I mean, look, I mean, guys, in the last 20 games, obviously in the Premier League, only Liverpool have more points. In the last 10 games in the Premier League in the form table, only Liverpool have more points. In the last calendar year, I don't know if you know this, guys. In the last calendar year, if you put all 92 league teams together, do you know who's top?
Arsenal,
yeah.
Yeah.
Arsenal are top over 2 years. Now, do you remember, guys, under Poch, where we had those 2 years where we didn't win anything, but if you added the 2 lots of points together, we were top. But we couldn't quite manage to get it consistently. So
I've got it framed on my wall, Savva. It's framed on my wall.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure you've probably got Pochettino in chains in your basement, mate. You love him that much. Feeding him sporadically. Anybody else? I mean, we're going to Arsenal. They're going to be coming off the back of that defeat. Can we see them losing another game at home? Or is this a game Arsenal are going to bounce back? How are we going to play? Are we going to do Ange ball? Are we going to do adapt ball? What are we doing?
Firstly, bro, let me take this one. Yeah. Firstly, I'm gonna put it from Ricketty. Right, when we played Arsenal at White Hart Lane, they were missing Odegaard and they're missing Declan Rice. And remember what the people were saying? Oh, they're missing 2 of their star players. Yeah, we can beat them. But what happened? Yeah. Arsenal found a way to sit back here, soak up the pressure, and then hit us with a set piece. What makes you think that they won't do that again? That's exactly how I see them playing. They're going to hit us with a set piece, or they're going to get one to Martinelli, like he did against Newcastle, and you'll see him just run at our back line, because our back line will be high up like Newcastle's. But unlike Newcastle with Botman, we haven't got that kind of player there to be able to shield that. So that's what I see happening against Newcastle in the Arsenal game. But I would love to be proven wrong, but let's just see how the game unfolds. But I feel like that's just what's going to happen.
I think it just depends on Ange. For me, it's if Ange adapts. Again, a question on Ange. I think after going and beating Liverpool 1-0, doesn't matter if we beat them nicely, if we didn't beat them nicely in the right play and style. It's the question of Ange adapted to that game. You saw he made a little adaptations, and that's what we need versus Arsenal. Yes, there are. No, he did adapt to the Liverpool game compared to the 6-3. 100% he did. It's a question about how much of an impact of that adaptation that he did can help us not concede them many goals versus Liverpool in the 6-3. Okay, the amount of balls that were pinged over Pedro Porro was unbelievable. Now versus Liverpool with a 1-0, I did this all analysis on my channel. The only difference was the fact that he put the centre backs a little bit deeper, not by much, but a little bit, and the fullbacks weren't as inverted. Now versus Arsenal, we need to see the fact that Ange will adapt again. We need to see this adaptation again. Now, if Ange can do it, I think we've got a better chance of beating them. Do I think we're going to beat them? Let's be realistic. No. But if Ange adapts to the game, I think we can somewhat get a draw, maybe.
So what you just said then, Ange adapted.
Yeah.
Right, but in his press conference, was it you, Philly, that said it? In his press conference, he said he was forced to adapt because the players are tired.
Doesn't matter though. Doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is whether or not his players are tired or not. Did he adapt? Yes.
Josh,
no, he didn't.
He did adapt though. I can literally see the main positions, the heated map positions in terms of the players. Hang on, let me finish. The heated map positions in terms of players, you can see the difference between the 6-3 Liverpool and the 1-0 versus Liverpool. There's massive difference.
But Josh, the point is though, right? Okay, is that he only adapted because the players were tired. So if the players weren't tired, right, he still played the same way. So
the players done that on their own.
Well, we've got to look at the match. Okay, I understand. By the way, full context, guys. Full context. I don't think Ange should stay as manager. Full context. But I saw the way we played versus Liverpool. Okay, whether or not the players were tired, whether or not the Bentacle did affect the game. The fact of the matter is, he adapted to the situation that happened. Whether or not his players were tired or not, he adapted to the situation. Now, there's been many times that he did not adapt to the situation. I can bring you Brighton games, Wolves games, and games like that. Many times. But this game, you have to give him credit. Okay, you know what? You want to put it on the fact that the players were tired? Sure. But he did adapt to the game. He did. We can criticize Ange so many times the fact that he doesn't adapt to games. But this game versus Liverpool, he did adapt.
Josh, can I ask you something?
Go on.
Josh, can I ask you something? Yeah, do you think that he adapted, or do you think that Liverpool lacked the intensity that they played in the 6-3? Do you think Liverpool played within themselves, knowing that it was a two-legged affair, and whatever the score that Tottenham had at White Hart Lane, they could go to Anfield and beat Tottenham? Do you think that? Because I look at some of the games that we have here, like against Chelsea. Chelsea stopped playing when they were 4-2 up. Right, when we played Liverpool last season at Anfield, Liverpool stopped playing. When they had scored all them goals, they stopped playing, and that's when Tottenham came back into the game. Now I've noticed a lot of teams here. Newcastle did it, right? When they scored their second goal, they stopped playing. It's just like, oh, Tottenham are not going to score. We can give them as many chances as they like. They're not going to score. Right, and they can play all day, and I think that's how Liverpool approached the game. They weren't too fast. They weren't hurrying up the throw-ins. They weren't hurrying up the free kicks. They were playing within themselves, right? And then when they get to Anfield, I think it's going to be a whole different game.
Okay, so to answer that, I think the way they approached the game, okay, they came into the game with the same idea as a 6-3. What do I mean by that? As in the first ball we saw in the first about minute and a half of the game, Mo Salah pinged the ball to Gakpo. First minute and a half of the game. And instantly we saw Pedro Porro getting beaten and Gakpo was able to take a shot off. That was instantly as the game started. Now, their approach to the game was not correct. And as well as that, Bentancur getting injured, obviously I'm not trying to be rude, I'm saying it kind of helped us in a way because we allowed Kulusevski, I know he didn't play great, but it allowed Kulusevski to be a body in that midfield that we needed. We needed to have that body in that midfield. Now, Tottenham Hotspur did not approach the game the same way they approached the 6-3. Ange Postecoglou knew that he had to bring back the defenders a little bit, specifically for that game. He knew that. And as soon as that one ball went over Pedro Porro, I don't remember seeing another ball going over Pedro Porro the whole game. I remember it going on the side. I remember many balls going on the side, but I don't remember seeing a ball from Trent, from Mo Salah, from Sobosai or whoever pinged over Pedro Porro for that
Josh,
game. For
Josh.
Jay
All right,
Spence,
all
yes,
right.
I do.
No, I'm sure Philly said this.
Yeah.
It was in the embargo press conference when he was asked about his midfield, because we did have slightly deeper midfielders. He said he had no choice because there was only 3 of them available.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So if the whole squad was fit, do you think he would have done that? I say definitely not. Definitely not. Would he have done that?
Okay, sure, but those are if buts and maybes. Right now, we know exactly what happened during the match. That's the fact.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
obviously
it's
again. Don't get me on the wrong stick. Like, I'm trying to say that at the end of the day, he has what he's got, and he was able to adapt. I
don't think this manager knows how to adapt at all. To be honest with you,
I agree.
I'm even going to say this. Well, as far as I'm concerned, he's only forced to do it. As far as I'm concerned, so I'll hit that fact on that one. And the first one, and the second,
and your argument can be used for the Man City game, by the way.
The second point, because this main event needs to still speak, is that I don't think Spence is playing well because of him either. I think he's doing it to spite him. I think he's doing it to spite him completely because he's had enough of him. You know what I mean? Because he's sitting there saying, well, sorry, mate, you're not playing me for how many weeks, right? You're not playing me for how many weeks. You kept on annoying me because Adoji was your favourite. You know what I mean? Even playing Van der Ven there and got him injured as well. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. I just don't rate this manager. I'm sorry. And listen, this is not even against you, Josh, because you're a lovely guy. You know what I mean? You're a lovely boy. You should subscribe to his channel. You should subscribe to his channel. You know what I mean?
Cheers.
But I'm absolutely sick to the back teeth of this guy. I'm sorry. I'm sick to the back teeth of him. Until he does a cowboy. And you know what? Yeah. Arsenal are in a bit of a rut at the moment. Yeah. Okay. It's only a little rut. Yeah, because some of the Arsenal fans can't stand the manager. Can't stand him. Yeah. You know what I mean? Can't stand the manager at all. But for me, if Tottenham are really serious, they watch that Newcastle game, right, and sit there and think, okay, right, this is what we need to do. You know what I mean? Yeah, let's really hit them really, really hard. You know what I mean? They've got a really hard game in the FA Cup, right? We've got Tamworth. Not really that bothered because we should be beating them. Yeah, so we should be going in with our tails up, thinking, yeah, let's make a statement. You know what I mean? Yeah, and then we'll see the Ange and phenomenon go absolutely wild in the at the Emirates. You know what I mean? It'll be like a show. You know, it'd be like a show of all shows. You know what I mean? At the Emirates. You know what I mean? But that's what should happen right now. You know what I mean? But I'm sorry, at the moment, one game. And
I agree. I agree. It's one game. I agree. But at the end of the day, he's adapted to that one game. I'm not saying that. Oh wow, he's done well by the other games. Because he adapted. Because he didn't adapt for any other game. I don't remember seeing another game that he adapted. This Liverpool game, he adapted. Now, in regards to is Ange the correct manager for us? I've said, and I think I've said this to Savva as well. I'm not too sure if I said this. For Ange, he needs to have the best players possible to play his football. He needs to have the best players to play his football. Now, at Tottenham Hotspur, he knew coming to Tottenham Hotspur that Conte wasn't back, Jose wasn't back. I mean, flipping Nuno Espirito Santos, how was he back? Poch wasn't back. No one was back. So if he came into the football club thinking that, okay, I can get the best players in this club and play my football as well, I'm not sure. I'm not too sure what he was thinking then. If that was what he was thinking. I think I'll mute.
Let me ask you, Josh. Sorry, I'm mute. Let me ask you. Sorry, I just had to get some sugar into my body there.
It looked good. It looked good,
man. Let me ask you. Right, listen. I mean, I've been listening in the background to this whole conversation about is it adapting? Were we forced to adapt? All I care about is, in the end, is that we won that game. The big indicator for me, and I'll say exactly the same thing I said after we beat Man City. Everyone told me he adapted against Man City, and then we went on a losing run because he went straight back to the gung-ho tactics. Now, I think that yes, there's an element of him adapting slightly in those bigger games to frustrate the bigger teams. But then that would also then mean that my argument suggests that he's arrogant against the so-called smaller teams because he doesn't show them that same respect. And they're the games we've struggled with. Lost to, I'm not saying small teams, by the way, but we lost to Brighton, couldn't beat Fulham, lost to Ipswich, lost to Palace, lost to Forest, lost to Bournemouth, right? Couldn't beat Leicester. So my question to everyone is going to be more around, why would we then do that against Liverpool? But in the games that we are struggling with, in the games we're massively struggling with, why can't he see that and adapt in those games? Because it's, at the moment, these big wins are the wins that are keeping him in a job for me. Fans go, yeah, but we beat Liverpool and City and Villa. Sure, but what about the bread and butter? What about Palace, Ipswich?
This is exactly
Bournemouth,
why.
Forest, like the bread and butter wins, he can't seem to adapt and change to counter those teams. That's the big issue for me.
That's exactly why I'm saying what this is exactly. You put it perfectly for me, right? That's why I can't sit there and say, why is it, right? Because we all established after Aston Villa and Man City, what is our best play with these players? Playing counter-attacking football, right? Right? And that's giving more. We've had, in the big games that we've won, right? We've had less possession, right? That's been the narrative. That's been the way that it's been going. You see what I'm saying? When we've had lots of possession, that's when we come unstuck. But this guy don't even look at it like that. You see what I'm saying? And this is where I have my.
I'm going to take over. I'm going to drop you, Alex, here because here it is. Right? Is it arrogance here or is it ignorance, my brother? Because my man said, and one first quotation, yeah, Plan B is just more Plan A. If it's not broke, if I can't make it work here, I will break it to make it work. That's how ignorant Ange Postecoglou is, because Plan B is just more Plan A. Now that's nasty, dude. I'm sorry. That's limited thinking on any level.
Can I ask you a question, right? Why is it's so bad that you can't have midfielders just hold on the ball? Just hold on the ball and just keep it playing. Recycle the ball just to keep the momentum of your team, right? Why is it I keep on looking at other midfielders that come to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and I'm thinking, you know what, he don't look too bad. He don't look too shabby. And we're making such a big deal about our midfielders who can't just keep the ball for a couple of minutes to stop the momentum of the other team. You know what I mean? We cycle the ball like McGuinn does, like Lukic does, like Sanderberg does. You see what I'm saying? Why can you not do that? Because that stops the momentum of the team. And the thing is, though, the thing that winds me up when I'm at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, they're moaning, right, when people are dropping down like fouls, yeah, stopping the game. That is part of the game. Mourinho was perfect at it. It was his MO every single time. You see what I'm saying? Yeah? Because that's what winners do. You see what I'm saying? We're doing that at the end of the match. We're doing that.
Yeah, but Anthony's not going to do that, Alex. I heard a press interview. You saying what you just said there. Ange come out in a press interview on a football match and said, "I'm not going to play that way. I've watched that kind of football come through Europe here for the last 20 years, and I refuse to have my team play that way. I refuse to engage in dark arts where players go down or players start feigning injury." And I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, everyone else is playing this way. How are you that backwards that you want to die on the hill of, I don't want to play that way. I want to play my way. Mate, your ways are archaic. Your ways are archaic. That's prehistoric. That's prehistoric business there, mate. Everyone else has moved on, and you're there playing with the dinosaurs, bro. Right? Move on.
I think it's more the fact that he doesn't trust the second or so-called second team of Tottenham. He doesn't trust the B team, in my opinion. The reason I think Man City is a little bit of not the best example. I think Aston Villa is better of an example because Man City, we always beat them. But Aston Villa, for example, whether or not we adapted or whatever, he doesn't trust the second team. How long, again, Jed Spence, did it take for him to be implemented into the squad? I mean, there's many.
Well, he had to run the rest into the ground.
Right, exactly, and ultimately,
Josh, doesn't
the people. Yeah.
Sorry, Josh, just quickly though, but what I don't get about this is when we're saying he doesn't trust these players have been the better players we've had over the last month or so. It's actually It's actually the senior pros in the last 4, 5, 6 games for me that have been letting us down. It's the Kulus. It's the Suns.
It's the Sons.
It's the Brennan Johnsons.
Don't get me started about Son. Yeah.
Right. So but this goes back to that argument, doesn't it? Where people were saying, Josh, well, what's Ange meant to do? He didn't have any players. He wasn't able to rotate. I think, again, the difference is that he didn't want to rotate, because
I agree.
we're seeing now Jed Spence can do a job. Now, listen, again, listen, I'm not going to sit here and say Jed Spence is the greatest footballer I've ever seen. But if you said to me, you know what, Porro's going to drop out for a game because he's played 3 games in 10 days. You know, Spence is going to come in for 90 minutes and play right back. Sure, I've got no problem with that. Now, do I want Spence being my right back for an entire year? Probably not. But he could have. Serge Reguilon, Ben Davis could have dropped in at left back when Udogie was tired. He never did that. Dragoshin, he never played him. When Van der Ven and Romero were fit, he never, ever rested them. Then all of a sudden, when these players get injured, we all go, well, he had no options and he doesn't trust them. But listen, at the end of the day,
the thing is with Spence, the thing is with Spence is he is our only natural fullback. The rest are wing back.
Yes.
He's our only natural fullback. What? Sorry?
Yeah, but with Dragusin, didn't you think that Chelsea game crushed his confidence as well? Because my man actually played good coming into the Chelsea game. And for him to be dropped for both Van der Ven and for Romero, when they just returned back from injury, must have been shot of his confidence, you know. And that's bad. And the same with Ben Davies. I know Ben Davies was injured before the game, but for Dragusin, he was playing very well before that Chelsea game, right? He had earned his place in the team, because I'm listening to you, Savva, with the watch along, and I'm hearing you saying Dragusin's played well, right? So what do you think his confidence level must have been when he was dropped for both Romero and Van der Ven when they came back from injury?
You were only 50% fit, mind. Because they only lasted one of them lasted 20 minutes.
Doesn't that make it worse that both of them came back? Right. And you know what? I would have got it if he had said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give Romero 45 minutes.
45 and 45.
Alongside Dragoshin. And then I'm going to take him off and put Van der Ven for 45. Now, look, first and foremost, if they weren't fit or anywhere near enough fit that we were worried about them getting injured, they should be nowhere near the team. But this manager didn't even think, I've got one fully fit centre-half in the club at that time in Dragoshin, and he's the one I don't start. I'm sorry, but when people talk to me about this is a great manager and the players love him, that you've got to be looking at that if you're Dragoshin and going, these two haven't played for about a month. They're both injured, and you've started both of them in front of me. Both of them have got injured in the same game. And then our fans say things like, you know what? How unlucky with injury. That's not unlucky.
No.
That's really silly. That's like me waking up and saying, I'm really tight in my hamstring. I'm really tight in my hamstring. Do you know what, love? I'm just going to go for a quick 5-mile run.
Yeah, run it off.
Coming back and going, I've done my hamstring. Well, of course, you felt something in your hamstring. You've gone and run. That's what Ange did. So when people going, Van der Ven and Romero are out, they're out this long because of him. They're out this long
that's the only way the Ange lovers can back him. That's the only way they can back him, saying, it's not his fault. He's got all these injuries. At the end of the day, we are playing bad. We are 12th in the Premier League. We are a couple losses away from a Manchester United who are absolutely abysmal, are going to be ahead of us. We might not even get into the Europa League stage. I mean, look, I don't understand what other things we need to provide the fans out here to show them how bad we are this season. Yes, it's a process, but it's a process that's not going anywhere. Or maybe it's a process that another manager can continue. Why does Ange need to
Josh?
Why does Ange need to keep this whole process only him? Why can't we get a different manager in to maybe complete the process? Yes, it didn't work with Poch. It didn't work with Poch, the completing process. But we're in a stage right now that we are desperate for a trophy. And that Carabao Cup, whether fans like it or not, the Carabao Cup is a Champions League for us. It's genuinely the Champions League. I mean, I don't even know what you feel like, Savva, but I'm at 19, 20 years old. I'm already tired of watching Tottenham. I'm already finished.
Well, first of all,
I'm
I
already
hate
finished.
you because you are only 19, 20 years old. Surely you know which one of those two ages you are, though, Josh. Surely it is 19 or 20.
I'm trying to give myself 19, so I don't have to count that extra year of me watching Tottenham.
Fair enough. You're 20.
I feel
Josh,
sorry for you. I
remember
honestly
you
feel
coming
sorry
on,
for
Josh,
you.
when you were about 16. I remember when you were just a baby coming on. Listen, again, just quickly, this comment here, Josh. But again, Romero wasn't fit. He hadn't played any football and wasn't scheduled to be back till a further 2 weeks.
Okay.
Now, when you say he got a complete separate injury, Josh, go and speak to any physio, sports scientist. If you play and you are not 100% fit, you are susceptible to more injuries.
You favour the other side, don't you?
Of course you do.
Yeah.
Of course. But again, people can't, we can't just say, yeah, that was poor. Like, that was bad management. We have to find an excuse. Look, Josh, I get it, right? I understand why so many people are putting all their eggs in the League Cup basket. I get it. We are so desperate for a trophy. We are starved of success. And as Eddie Murphy said, if someone's hungry and you throw them a cracker, it's the best cracker they've ever eaten, right?
Josh was nearly not born the last time we won something.
I'm going to party so hard when we win.
That's what we are at the moment, Josh, as a fan base. We are so hungry that what we're doing is, and look at all these people throughout the entire show that have tried to debate me with facts that aren't facts. They're actually feelings, right? Like Spurs are getting better. Okay, in what way? All the facts show we're getting worse. We're having a terrible season. The points are down. The wins are down. The defeats are up. The goals against are up. But people will still say, yeah, but we're in the semi-final of the League Cup. Sure, we are. And we've only had to win 3 games to get there. Sure, we're in the semi-final of a cup. But what if that does work, Josh? It saves him for the season. If it does work, it saves him for the season. If it doesn't work, all we are is a team that got to a semi, right? And a bottom half of the Premier League. All we are is what you see every year. Somebody gets to the semi-final who isn't a top club, whether it's a Wigan, whether it's a Portsmouth back in the day, whether it's a Fulham or whether it's... What we are is just a team in a good cup run, but a lot of our fans can't separate that from the BAU, from the business as usual, which is Premier League football. We are not doing well. And when you say that, you're called negative, you're called toxic. The table doesn't lie. The Premier League table does not lie.
I look, ultimately, I'd finish 12th and win that Carabao Cup, to be completely honest with you. I mean, I think the only thing that will keep Ange, again, like you said, is that Carabao Cup. And the worst thing possible for this fan base is the fact that we are so divided in two separate measures. You know, I reckon if I asked everyone here who they'd rather leave the club tomorrow, Levy or Ange, many of us would say Levy. I hope we all say that, because as much as we don't think Ange is the correct manager, Levy is the bigger problem. It's the bigger picture. Levy's the bigger picture. But as much as we say Levy out, at the end of the day, the person who's actually putting his own tactics, putting his own, making sure the players are back training as fast as possible, making their lineups. It's Ange Postecoglou. But I've got to go, Savva. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry. The days of Levy out have gone. It's too late to get him out now.
Oh, yeah, of course it's gone.
It's too late to get him out now. He's built a £1 million cash machine stadium that's basically a license to print money. He's not going anywhere now. It's too late.
May I ask you guys a question, like a general one? So, for example, if we want to act like a big club, when Dortmund went to their Champions League final, because Terzic was horrible in Bundesliga, he still got sacked. Do you think if we even get to final, that should Ange be sacked, even if he gets us to the Carabao final?
Yes.
No, you'll have a statue outside the stadium.
Look, I think the difference is, Renketic, I suppose it depends on age and a number of different factors. And Aris, welcome to the show. I am definitely stopping this show, by the way, at 10:02. I can only do another 15 minutes.
Yeah.
My eyes are going to go square. I think the difference is, Rinketic, for me, is loads of clubs get to finals. Getting to a final in itself is good, but for me, does a 5-game cup run tell you, oh my God, what a good season it is if you don't lift that trophy? For me, the barometer will be, okay, let's get a trophy, but we can't have that at the detriment of, and it's not, at the detriment of the Premier League form. If he gets to a final but finishes 11th, 10th, 9th, that's poor. That's really, truly very poor for me. Guys, he's getting
I
to the
agree.
final.
I made a massive mistake this summer, and I'll be the first to admit it, Savva. I made a massive mistake, and that's this. Right, I said, yeah, I didn't care where Spurs finish in the league, yeah, as long as they got a cup. That was wrong, because really and truly, yeah, it matters where you finish in the league. If we finish in the top 10 and we win a cup, then that's fair enough. But if you're going down to 14th, where Poch was when he got sacked, or lower than that, and you're in the relegation battle, that's not good enough. I don't care if you win a cup. You've got to go, man. There's something fundamentally wrong in that.
By the way,
believe you me, I said 17th and the FA Cup. I said I'd take 17th in the league and give me the FA Cup. But that was only me wanting a trophy.
I know, but that was wrong because it gives the club a way out, and that was wrong.
Yeah, I was wrong.
I don't see why winning a trophy suddenly means we have to suddenly just forego being crap in the league. I've never seen.
Well, it's because we're all desperate. It's because we're all desperate.
Yeah, but Mark, they're two different things. Just
of
because
course.
we win a trophy,
I recognise that, mate.
We should be 14th, 15th, 16th.
Yeah.
Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, City, United, they constantly win trophies. None of them ever finish in the bottom half of the table.
No.
By the way, Florian Plettenberg has just posted, and then I'll come to you, Aris, has just posted that Man United's efforts to sign Randal, Kolo, Muani are becoming concrete. The Red Devils are now determined to do everything possible to secure his transfer in the winter. Recently, there have been very specific talks with his management and direct negotiations with PSG. Man U are considering a loan deal, ideally with an option to buy. Other clubs in the race include Chelsea, Villa, Tottenham, Juve, Milan, and others. Don't worry, Daniel Levy's going into bat. If he comes out of that, will be fair enough. Aris, welcome to the show. You've never been on before. How are you? What do you want to say, my friend?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, mate. I'm really well, thank you.
No, I haven't. Thank you. Very well yourself. Good, thanks, boys. How are you? I just want first before I start, I just want to compliment you, Savva, on your show. I love it.
Thank you. What did you want to say, Aris? What did you want to say?
I want to say, I actually know Ange very well. I know him from Australia days.
Right.
Now, he came through the South Melbourne Juniors, where he started back in 1991. He was a left fullback.
Okay.
And he wasn't a bad left fullback. He did win 2 titles with South Melbourne as a player. But where he learned his football was he got educated by Ferenc Puskas, the way the old Hungarian team used to play, that attacking type of football.
Yeah.
Then he became an assistant coach to Frank Arok, who was a Hungarian. He was a very smart coach. He can play any style. Doesn't matter what team you gave him, he will come up with a formula. Ange sort of tried to manipulate. The role of Frank Arok was to go to a club, clean the club completely out, and rebuild it.
Right.
That's where he's got that formula from. That's what he's going to do to the Spurs. He's going to clean it out. He's going to bring probably 20 to 30 players, and then he's going to leave. Someone else is going to come in and take over. He's not there to win a trophy. He won't win a trophy. You got to remember the National League, the Australian A-League, doesn't have promotion and relegation. You can sacrifice a year or two to build a team. You can't do that in the EPL. You'll get relegated.
Well, let me ask though, Aris. I completely understand what you're saying. Look, I'll stick up for Ange a little bit here, which is very rare for me on this channel. When we're saying he won't win, he is only 180 minutes away from lifting a trophy, right? If he gets that second leg at Liverpool right, and by the way, we all know that Anfield's probably, for me, the worst ground to go to in the country. No one wants to go to Anfield, but the reason I was so adamant we had to get that goal the other night and win was we had to go to Liverpool with something to hold on to.
Yeah.
I think if you go there with a draw or losing, Liverpool are superior. However, it now changes the dynamic in terms of if we're clever, we will say to Liverpool, break us down, right? But not just once. They need to break us down twice. So we will say break us down. So for me, we can make a final. We're going to be talking about this, right, all the way until, the 6th of February when the second leg is. But we can win a final depending on his management on the day. If he goes into that game and thinks we can play Liverpool, we can outmatch them, we're going to get battered. If he goes there, like most managers would, and says, let's shut up shop, let's be difficult to beat, let's not all go gung-ho, nothing inverted, no high line, then yes, we've seen that teams go to Liverpool. Fulham this year have gone there and got a draw. Forest have got a win.
Yeah.
United got a draw. But for me, it all depends on what he does. But he is only 2 games away from lifting a trophy.
Yeah, but do you actually see him doing that? What you're just saying there, do you actually see Ange actually doing that? Because I don't. I think he's gonna go for Liverpool, and go and play his way of attacking. That's what I see. And that's the bit that I don't like, because I reckon, if he did play like that and engaged his mind and thought, you know what, let me sit back and let let Liverpool come and attack us here and we can hit them on the counter attack, that would be the perfect way to engage the game. But I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's just going to attack.
Well, this is the thing, guys. Look, I'm just sitting at it from a kind of devil's advocate, sitting in the middle and just asking questions. Look, for me, as I said, I'd prefer we're going there with a more pragmatic manager that says, what do I need to do to get this over the line? I get the feeling, and you'll probably see it from his press conferences leading up to that game, that he'll probably say, yeah, we're just going to go and do what we normally do. Even if we go, by the way, and we are pragmatic and we shut up shop, this is Liverpool. On their day, Liverpool can rip anyone apart. And you know it's going to be under the lights. It's going to be a night game under the lights. Liverpool at home to reach a final. You know what Liverpool do. So this is going to be a massive test of his management ability for me.
I was at Anfield, though, when we won.
Savva,
It was 1995. It was 1995.
I have no doubt.
Just quickly, Mark.
Go, boys. Nice to talk to you. We'll catch
Aris,
up next
you
one.
take care. Cheers, mate.
Have a good night.
Mark,
Thank you.
thanks, Aris. Take care. Last 8
Cheers,
minutes
mate.
or so. Mark, if I'm not wrong, and if my memory serves me right, you're talking about the game where Klinsmann and Sheringham both played.
Yes.
Klinsmann laid it off to Teddy, and he curled it in from about 20
That was the equaliser. That was the equaliser. Although I was not in the Tottenham end. I went with my mate. Tottenham had the whole of the away end at Anfield because the FA Cup's different. They get 25% of the gate. And I was sat. If you look at the Kop from the pitch, I was sat on the right hand side. Right, Klinsmann, Teddy lays the ball through to Klinsmann, slides it in at the Kop end, and we win 2-1. He ran round and slid right in front of where I was sat. I couldn't help myself. I jumped up. Yes.
Yeah.
But the Liverpool fans were brilliant.
By the way, just quickly, Chris, Chris, if you actually, again, this is the difference, right? I know I've got a magic microphone that when I say something different comes out the other end. I never said he played a high line in the first leg. I said, let's see what he does in the second leg.
Yeah.
The difficulty is in that second leg, you're probably going to have Van der Ven and Romero back. And when Van der Ven and Romero plays is when he tends to go more to the really high line because of Van der Ven's pace. So I didn't assume he will. If you actually listen to what I said, I put a number of scenarios, didn't I? I said, if he goes high line, I think we're toast. Does he go and be a bit more pragmatic and try and play for a draw or try and nick a 1-0 win? I feel like you're hearing what you want to hear because you're very defensive of Ange Postecoglou. I feel like I could sit here and say, I think he's brilliant, and people would still go, oh, you hate him. Like it's look, let's see what Ange does when he goes to Liverpool. But it's a tough game. We've got Arsenal away before then. By the way, we've still got to play Chelsea away this season. We've still got to play Man City at home. We've still got to play Liverpool away in the league. Am I right? In saying we've got to go to Anfield in the league. Is that right?
Yeah, we do.
Yes. Right. So we've got Liverpool away, Arsenal away, City at home, Chelsea away. We've got some big games coming up in the Premier League in the next 18.
We've already lost 10.
I know we've already lost 10. I reckon we're going to be. I reckon we're going to lose 16 to 17 games this calendar.
Well, I was going to say you've just named 4 hard away games. You ain't noticed the other ones like Ipswich away when we'll probably get turned over. You know, the stupid ones that you think we should be winning, like Ipswich at home, and we've lost.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I agree. By the way, yes, listen, I do drill at Ange, Chris. I do absolutely drill Ange because I've never seen my team this bad. I've never. Relatively in the last 20 years, I've not seen my team sitting 12th, 9 points off 7th, losing games nearly every other week. I've not seen it this bad for a long time, Chris. So, yes, I drill Ange. As I said, there are many fans that haven't supported Spurs that long that don't have these memories, right? That are coming in and they're making out like we're the world's worst team that constantly lost this many games before Ange Postecoglou arrived at the club.
No.
And we didn't. We never lost this many under Jose, under Conte, under Nuno, under Sherwood, under AVB, under Redknapp, under we didn't lose this volume of games. So,
and I think my man was addressing me, Savva, yeah? I've seen Christian Gross at Tottenham Hotspur, and he was one of the worst managers I've ever seen in my life. Mr. I have a ticket. He was one of the worst ones tactically. He made Spurs fans fall out of love with Tottenham Hotspurs. The same way Jackson Tini did it. All right. And he has a better win record than Ange Postecoglou. Let's just get that right. That is bad, dude.
I mean, if anyone wants to know why I drill Ange, here it is. And we are going to end the show in a second. I drill Ange because of things like this.
Yeah.
Right? Like the worst management instructions I've ever seen were in this picture. Because of things like this. 1.20 points per game over the season. Because of things like, where was it? Because of things like this. Because of things like this, worst number of points in a calendar year since 2008. Because of things like this, 15 games in a row at home going 1-0 down. Because of things like this, points per game is going worse and worse every 6 months. 6 months on 6 months on 6 months. It's gone from 1.89 to 1.58 to 1.26. So when you want to know why I do drill Ange, it's because I've seen Spurs have a good team. I've seen Spurs win trophies. Like Mark and Philly are of that age as well. We've seen Spurs win European Cups, FA Cups. This team that we're being told is great, and this is poor. So, look, I am going to leave it there, guys.
I've got a stat for you, brother. Wait a minute. Whoa. I've got a stat for you. How many consecutive wins has Ange had in a row?
What, his best ever?
Maximum?
Yeah.
Maximum.
In 2 years. How many consecutive wins has Ange had in a row?
I would say 3. That's a guess.
4.
I would say
In the space of 18 months, 4. That's bad, dude.
And that was
that's a red flag.
Ago, right? When he started.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about. Well, yeah, that's including the first 10 games when we had the manager bans.
Yeah. Since then.
I would say less. I would say 2. We probably won 2 in a row, but that's about it.
Let's have a look. So
it might only be 1 game, and then we draw the next one or lose it.
So let's have a look. So this season, we haven't won in the Premier League for 4 games. Before that, we beat Southampton. In the Premier League before that, we hadn't won for 3 games. Chelsea, Bournemouth, and Fulham. Before that, we beat City. The game before that, we lost to Ipswich, so no 2 wins in a row. Before that, we beat Villa in the league. The game before that, we lost to Palace in the league. We beat West Ham in the league. The game before that, we lost to Brighton in the league. We can't.
So the answer's one then. The answer's one.
We beat the last
But
time.
there's consistency there, isn't it?
The last time we won 2 in a row was Man United back to back with Brentford back in September, I believe. And before that, we lost to Arsenal, lost to Newcastle, beat Everton, drew with Leicester. So this year, we've only managed to win 2 games back to back once. Once we've won back to back games.
We're one of the big 6, mind.
There's consistency there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Big up to my man Demetrius, who always comes in. Again, says, you are giving him the love now. Don't worry. You are giving him the love now, Savva. Don't worry. No manager has ever had so many injuries. Demetrius, as I just said there, before the injuries, it was our worst start to a Premier League season for 20 years. So
that
again,
was after the best the season before, mine.
I know
Brentford has 10 injuries and they're still above us.
And Bournemouth have 8 injuries and they're 9 points above us. So yeah, it's listen, as I said at the beginning of the show, and I'm going to end it there, but I said at the beginning of the show, people don't want the facts that make them that make their hero look bad. At the end of the day, when he gets his players back, he will win Manager of the Year. It's got to be the worst comment I've had today. Big up for putting it in. Thank you. But he's definitely not winning Manager of the Year between now and the end of the year, is he? He's been absolutely shocking. It's dreadful. There you go. 29 injuries Newcastle had last year, and they finished 7th. There you go. So let's see. They're all coming. They come in packs. This is brilliant. The Carabao Gauntlet said the sad thing is if Ange wins us the Carabao, there will still be a section of perma haters, good word, that still won't acknowledge his contribution. I'll acknowledge his contribution in the cup, but if he has us bottom half of the table, I will not want him as my manager. It's that simple. It really is. Mafuz, I love this. Let's break this down again. Let's break this down. When people, like you say, to be fair, look at all the changes we made for Karabag, right? AZ Alkmaar, Galatasaray. Who was before that one? Ferencvaros. Isn't it mad how we changed the narrative? So when we didn't win some of those games, it was, oh yeah, but Ange played some of the youth players. Now it's, yeah, but listen, I'm sorry, mate. It's terrible. It's terrible. Look, guys, girls, I am leaving it there. I'm not reading out any more comments. Philly, Mark, and Ketik, thank you for coming on for the last hour or so of this show. Please, if you haven't subscribed, please do. We are 6 subscribers away from 15,450. So please do. Please like the show if you haven't already. And please get over and subscribe to Mark's new channel, which is the 2 Marks Talk Tottenham, and subscribe to Ring Ketik as well. Demetrius, I'll tell you what, I've bitten. What makes my guy think Spurs will not finish 7th? I'll tell you what, if he finishes 7th from this position, we're going to have a bloody good second half of the season. We are 9 points off 7th. 9. That's 3 wins, assuming that those teams above us don't get any points. That's 3 wins. Guys, girls, take care. Jay Diller said, great show, guys. Sorry, Savva, for jumping on. You were more than welcome to jump on. I asked you to jump on. Big up, Jay Diller. You were allowed on, mate. Never apologize. It's what we're here for. We're here to talk football. Take care, everyone. And as always, come on, you Spurs. And
that's what I think, man.
Out.